Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles. Chapter 780. There was a medicinal fragrance. It was very faint, but it did exist. Qin Feiyang lowered his head and scanned the forest, his eyes flickering. Although there was a medicinal fragrance, he didn't know what kind of medicinal herb it was. If it was just a very ordinary medicinal herb, then it wouldn't be worth the risk. After pondering for a moment, Qin Feiyang held the mentality of killing 1,000 by mistake and not letting one go. He still planned to go down and take a look. Whiz! After entering the forest, he put away the heavenly thunder sword, smelled the medicinal fragrance, and carefully walked deeper into the forest. Because the holy might would alarm the beast emperor lurking in the forest. Inside the forest, it was too quiet. Coupled with the fact that it was evening, it was dark everywhere. It made one's hair stand on end. About 100 breaths passed. He seemed to have discovered something and hid behind a big tree. He stuck his head out and looked ahead. His pupils immediately shrank. Although the forest was dark, with Qin Feiyang's current cultivation, the night could not block his line of sight. A few hundred meters in front of him, there was a huge monster lying on the ground. It was a fierce crocodile. Its body was dozens of meters long, and it was ferocious. It lay motionless in the snow, its eyes tightly closed, as if it was sleeping. But unlike other fierce crocodiles, this fierce crocodile's scales were like ice. If he didn't hear its heartbeat and breathing, Qin Feiyang would have thought that it was just an ice sculpture. But that wasn't the case. According to Qin Feiyang's knowledge, this fierce crocodile was called the frost crocodile, and was also a species from 10,000 years ago. There were records in the ancient books. The frost crocodile was cruel and bloodthirsty. Its hard body was comparable to divine iron, and it was difficult for ordinary sharp weapons to break through its defense. Moreover, it also had a mouthful of terrifying fangs. Even the fierce beasts of the same realm as it were unable to block its bite. And the aura that Qin Feiyang sensed came from this fierce crocodile. Qin Feiyang didn't dare to step forward. Because the aura emitted by this frost crocodile far surpassed that of the 9 Star War sect. He held his breath and scanned the snow in front of the frost crocodile. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang's gaze locked onto the snow in front of the frost crocodile's head. His face also revealed a trace of ecstasy. On the snowy ground, there was a small tree about half a meter tall. Little Uncle's tree trunk and leaves were all snow-white, blending in with the snow. If one didn't look carefully, it would be hard to notice. Between the branches, there were 3 fruits hanging from them. These 3 fruits were only the size of an egg, and they seemed to be condensed from ice. They were crystalline, translucent, and emitted strands of faintly discernible rays of light. And the medicinal fragrance that Qin Feiyang smelled came from those 3 fruits. But that was not the point. The important thing was that Qin Feiyang had captured a tiger-shaped spirit tattoo on the small tree's trunk. In other words, this little tree was 10,000 years old. A moment later, Qin Feiyang glanced at the frost crocodile and entered the ancient castle with a flash. He looked at the 2-winged snow eagle that had nothing to do and said, "I found a treasure. Help me snatch it." The dual-winged snow eagle did not dare to cultivate. Because it was already able to break through to the Battle Saint realm, if it cultivated and accidentally stepped into the Battle Saint realm, it would have to wait until it became a 9-star Battle Saint to unlock the door of potential. By then, the time needed would undoubtedly be longer. What treasure? But before the dual-winged snow eagle could speak, Wolf King and Fatso were the first to open their eyes and stare at Qin Feiyang excitedly. What kind of people are these? Once they hear that there is a treasure, it's as if they are injected with chicken blood. The dual-winged snow eagle looked at the man and wolf in disdain, then looked at Qin Feiyang and chuckled, "What treasure?" When it spoke, its eyes were shining, and it was only a step away from drooling. After being looked down upon, Wolf King and Fatso wanted to flip out, but when they saw the dual-winged snow eagle's eyes, they were stunned. Aren't we the same? How dare we talk about others? Qin Feiyang glanced at them and said with a smile, Mystic ice fruit. Mystic ice fruit? Fatso was slightly stunned and immediately lost interest. What is a mystic ice fruit? Wolf King and the dual-winged snow eagle looked at the two of them in confusion. Mystic ice fruit is an ingredient for refining potential pills and small creation pills, but it is not very precious. Fat Lord still has dozens of them in his Chinkuan bag. Fatso waved his hand and said, I see. Hearing Fatso's words, Wolf King and the other two beasts also lost interest. Qin Feiyang glanced at them and said helplessly, Can you let me finish? Go ahead. Fatso and Wolf King looked at him listlessly. If it was just an ordinary mystic ice fruit, of course I would not be so excited. But now, the mystic ice fruit outside is 10,000 years old. Qin Feiyang said. What? Hearing this, the man and the two beasts' eyes suddenly shone. If it was a 10,000-year-old mystic ice fruit, it would naturally be a different story. Let's go out and snatch it. Wolf King stood up and urged, his fighting spirit high. The small creation pill required the same medicinal ingredients as the potential pill. As for the potential pill, there were a total of 33 medicinal ingredients. But now, they had only found snow crystals and blood ginseng that were 10,000 years old. They were still lacking a lot. So, once they found it, they had to get it. Why didn't I see you so active before? Looking at the impatient Wolf King, Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes, and then said, I and the dual-winged snow eagle will go out and take a look first. If it really doesn't work out, I'll let you guys go out and help. Next. He looked at the dual-winged snow eagle and said, Beside the mystic ice fruit, there is a war saint-level frost crocodile. The dual-winged snow eagle nodded and instantly restrained his aura to the limit. Shwa. Then, Qin Feiyang brought the dual-winged snow eagle and appeared behind the big tree once again. The dual-winged snow eagle had transformed. At this moment, it was only the size of a palm. Lying on Qin Feiyang's shoulder, it stuck its head out to look at the small tree. When it saw the tiger-shaped spirit grain, its eyes immediately lit up. Are you confident? Qin Feiyang asked via sound transmission. The dual-winged snow eagle turned its gaze, sized up the frost crocodile for a while, and secretly said, You have a sacred artifact, so it's not difficult to deal with it. But the problem is, once we fight, it's very likely that the mystic ice fruit will be destroyed, so we have to think of a way to lure it away. Qin Feiyang nodded and sent a sound transmission, Then you go and lure it. Why don't you go? The dual-winged snow eagle was startled, and immediately said angrily. If I had your speed, would I need to beg you? Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at it. No, although this emperor is fast, it is still a war saint. Competing with it in speed is purely courting death. The dual-winged snow eagle shook its head. You don't even dare to go, do you still have any prospects? Qin Feiyang stared at it angrily. However, the dual-winged snow eagle looked like a dead pig that was not afraid of boiling water, and said indifferently, Don't try to provoke this emperor, it's useless, this emperor won't fall for your tricks. Qin Feiyang's face darkened. This bastard, there was no time for him to be reliable. Suddenly, the dual-winged snow eagle's eyes lit up, and it secretly said, This emperor has thought of a good idea. What idea? Qin Feiyang asked. Can't you hide in the castle? Now, run over there. Don't be afraid of it. Grab the mystic ice fruit and enter the castle. At that time, even if it wakes up, it can only watch you. How is it? This method is awesome. The dual-winged snow eagle chuckled. A row of black lines appeared on Qin Feiyang's forehead. He really wanted to strangle this bastard to death. If this method was feasible, he would have acted long ago. Why would he need to talk nonsense with the dual-winged snow eagle? The reason why it was not feasible was because the small tree was right in front of the ice crocodile's mouth, almost touching its bloody mouth. With such a short distance, as long as the ice crocodile opened its mouth, it would be able to swallow him alive. Not to mention, the berserk beast's sense of smell was usually very sensitive, and the ice crocodile was still a battle saint. Even if it restrained its aura to the extreme, as long as it approached, it would immediately sense it. If he really listened to the dual-winged snow eagle's rotten idea, it was guaranteed that he would not be able to return. Suddenly, he rolled his eyes and smiled. I also thought of a good idea. What? The dual-winged snow eagle looked at him expectantly. A smirk flashed across Qin Feiyang's eyes. He grabbed the dual-winged snow eagle and directly threw it out. The dual-winged snow eagle was still in a daze. When it regained its senses, it was already only a dozen meters away from the ice crocodile. You bastard! Immediately, it was furious and secretly roared at Qin Feiyang. Then, it turned around and wanted to escape, afraid that it would wake up the ice crocodile. Humph, if you dare to run away, you will never be able to open the gate of potential. Qin Feiyang secretly snorted. The dual-winged snow eagle's body stiffened. It turned its head and gritted its teeth as it stared at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang didn't care about the look in its eyes at all. He sent a voice transmission and urged, "Go quickly before it wakes up." Bastard, you win. The dual-winged snow eagle with a stomach full of grievances looked back at the ice crocodile. It suddenly gritted its teeth and rushed towards the small tree. However, when it landed in front of the small tree, the ice crocodile still showed no signs of waking up. What's the situation? The dual-winged snow eagle was a little stunned. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang urged, "Don't dawdle, hurry up." What the hell are you urging? The dual-winged snow eagle cursed secretly without turning its head. It stretched out its wings and waved them in front of the ice crocodile's closed eyes. But there were still no signs of waking up. It still won't wake up? The dual-winged snow eagle was surprised, and then laughed. This guy must be having an erotic dream. Finished. It turned around and stretched out its claws, grabbing the small tree's trunk and preparing to uproot it. Shwa! But at this moment, the ice crocodile's tightly shut eyes behind him suddenly opened. Qin Feiyang had been paying attention to the ice crocodile situation. Seeing it open its eyes, his heart immediately turned cold. It was a pair of scarlet eyes, filled with bloodthirst and cruelty. He hurriedly looked at the dual-winged snow eagle and roared, "It's staring at you, quick!" What? The dual-winged snow eagle's body trembled as it slowly turned its head. When it met the ice crocodile's scarlet eyes, its soul almost flew out of its body. Who? Suddenly, the ice crocodile's bloody mouth moved, spewing out a pungent smell of blood. The dual-winged snow eagle quivered and hurriedly waved its wings, saying, "Don't be rash, I'm just passing by. You don't have to do anything, I'll scram immediately." Finished. It turned around like lightning, stretched out its claws, grabbed the small tree, and pulled with all its might. Crack! The ice on the ground shattered, snow flew everywhere, and the small tree was immediately uprooted. Then, as if its butt was on fire, it rushed towards Qin Feiyang without looking back. Roar! Chapter 781. This, Qin Feiyang was dumbfounded. It was swallowed alive just like that? Following that, he could not help but feel chills all over his body. It was obvious that the frost crocodile had already sensed the approach of the double-winged snow eagle. The reason why it had been holding back was to numb the double-winged snow eagle. These fierce beasts were really each more sinister than the other. Clang! In the blink of an eye. When he came back to his senses, Qin Feiyang decisively took out the Sky Thunder Sword. Although the double-winged snow eagle was somewhat unreliable, it was after all his companion now. His companion was in trouble. No matter how dangerous it was, he would not back down. Die! He roared and jumped out from behind the big tree. He grabbed the Sky Thunder Sword and slashed it fiercely. The sword aura was like a rainbow, cutting through the sky. For a moment, the ground trembled and snow flew everywhere. Those thick and strong ancient trees were like withered trees that could not withstand a single blow. They were instantly crushed into pieces by the sword aura. Qin Feiyang had not appeared and his aura had been restrained to the extreme. The frost crocodile had not discovered him. Therefore, faced with this sudden attack, the frost crocodile was somewhat caught off guard. Coupled with the speed of the sword aura, it was as fast as lightning. Before the frost crocodile could react, the sword aura slashed its wide mouth. Poof! Immediately, a stream of hot blood gushed out like a fountain and sprayed dozens of feet away. The frost crocodile's bloody mouth was actually split into two by the sword aura. If Qin Feiyang was a little closer, he could split its entire head. Roar! The intense pain made the frost crocodile roar again and again. Its huge body rolled in the snow. The earth shook and the ice shattered. A large area of the surrounding ancient trees was crushed. The rumbling was deafening. Whoosh! Suddenly, a white stream of light rushed out from the frost crocodile's wide mouth. It was the double-winged snow eagle. Qin Feiyang said in surprise, "Aya, you weren't swallowed alive? Don't gloat over there." The two-winged snow eagle glared at it fiercely. It flapped its wings and floated above the frost crocodile. Previously, it was almost swallowed alive. Luckily, Qin Feiyang split open the frost crocodile's mouth at the crucial moment, giving it a chance to escape. But even so, it was still very unhappy with Qin Feiyang. Because if Qin Feiyang hadn't thrown it over when it wasn't paying attention, it wouldn't have fallen into such a crisis. "Bastard, I'll settle this with you in the future." It muttered under its breath and said angrily to Qin Feiyang, "What are you waiting for? Kill it." "Do I need you to tell me that?" Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes and looked at the frost crocodile that was still rolling on the ground. Clang! He suddenly raised the heavenly thunder sword, and his saint might surged. With a wave of his hand, a dazzling sword chi whizzed out. Its terrifying sharpness tore apart the glacier. But at this moment, the frost crocodile suddenly turned into the size of a palm and flew away like lightning. Beasts that had cultivated to the battle saint level no longer needed the transformation pill to change their size at will. Boom! The sword chi slashed towards the ground. Accompanied by a loud sound, a few miles of land was instantly razed to the ground. But the frost crocodile ran away. "Want to run? Lend me the heavenly thunder sword." Looking at the escaping frost crocodile, the two-winged snow eagle was filled with rage. It stretched out its claws and snatched the heavenly thunder sword from Qin Feiyang's hands. It then activated its battle soul and chased after the frost crocodile. "Don't chase!" Qin Feiyang quickly shouted. One must know. They hadn't even reached the central area of the glacier and they had already encountered a battle saint level frost crocodile. There must be beasts stronger than the frost crocodile in the deeper area. And once those beasts sensed the battle here and came to join in the fun, they could only run for their lives. However, the angry two-winged snow eagle didn't listen at all and chased to the end. Impulsiveness is the devil. Qin Feiyang sighed helplessly and could only use phantom steps to catch up. But whether it was the frost crocodile or the two-winged snow eagle, their speed far exceeded his. Very soon, he lost track of it. He stood on top of an ice peak and scanned the area in front of him. His brows were tightly knitted together. "Forget it. I'll just wait here for it." After pondering for a moment, he simply entered the forest below to see if he could find any other medicinal herbs. Not long after, a hint of bewilderment crept into his eyes as he actually smelled another medicinal fragrance. He followed the medicinal fragrance and searched. Not long after, he walked out of the forest and an ice lake entered his sight. The ice lake wasn't big, only a few 100 feet wide. On the surface of the lake, there was a thick layer of ice. And in the middle of the ice lake, there was a blooming flower. It was the size of a baby's palm and had a total of 3 petals. Its entire body seemed to be carved from crystal, emitting a hazy radiance. And on the petals, there was a tiger-shaped spirit pattern. It's actually an ice crystal flower. And it's 10,000 years old. Qin Feiyang was overjoyed. The ice crystal flower was also one of the medicinal herbs used to refine the small creation pill. However, he didn't rush up immediately because such a rare treasure was basically guarded by powerful beasts. Of course, there were exceptions. But such exceptions were too rare. Qin Feiyang scanned the lake's surface and didn't find any traces of beasts. After pondering for a while, he turned and walked into the forest. Not long after, he walked out with a stone the size of a dustpan. Next, he lifted the stone and threw it into the ice lake. Crack. Splash. The stone hit not far away from the ice crystal flower. The ice layer on the lake's surface instantly cracked, splashing up waves of several meters high. Whoosh. Following closely, a white stream of light swept out from the waves. It was a snake. It was more than 10 meters long and its entire body was like jade. White jade demonic snake. Qin Feiyang's eyes widened. He wasn't unfamiliar with this thing at all. He clearly remembered that back then, in the valley where Mu Tianyang was buried, he almost lost his life under the venomous fangs of the white jade demonic snake. The most important thing was that the white jade demonic snake was a social creature. As long as one appeared, there would definitely be a large group of them under the ice lake. However, the strength of this white jade demonic snake wasn't very strong. It was about a 1-star battle ancestor. At the same time, when the white jade demonic snake appeared, it also discovered Qin Feiyang, who was standing by the lake. The snake flicked its tongue, and its long and narrow eyes revealed traces of cold light. It was obviously threatening Qin Feiyang not to approach. "Tisk, I'm not afraid of you." Qin Feiyang smiled disdainfully, turned into a stream of light, and rushed toward the ice crystal flower. Hiss. The white jade demonic snake immediately let out an ear-piercing scream. Crack. Whoosh. The ice layer on the entire ice lake was constantly cracking. One by one, the white jade demonic snakes rushed out like lightning, pouncing towards Qin Feiyang like a huge wave. Qin Feiyang hurriedly swept his gaze across. The strongest of these white jade demonic snakes was only a 5-star battle ancestor, so they couldn't threaten him at all. Boom! He released his aura. Before those white jade demonic snakes could even get close, they were all sent flying, and a large number of them were killed or injured. Blood poured down like a waterfall. In the blink of an eye, the originally clear and bright ice lake was dyed blood red. Soon, Qin Feiyang rushed to the front of the ice crystal flower, his eyes shining brightly. But just as he was about to reach out to grab it, an unprecedented sense of danger suddenly surged into his heart. Shwa! He decisively retreated. At the same time, just as he was retreating, a ray of light shot out from the stamen of the ice crystal flower. At first glance, it was like an earthworm, harmless to humans and animals. But it was the opposite. Not only did it erupt with a terrifying aura, its speed was even faster than Qin Feiyang's by a large margin. The danger that Qin Feiyang felt came from it. Because it was also a white jade demonic snake. And such a small white jade demonic snake had obviously undergone transformation. Fierce beasts that could transform were all existences of the War Saint level. So, facing the Snake Emperor of the War Saint level, with Qin Feiyang's current strength, he had no chance of winning. He had never thought that there would be such a terrifying existence hiding in the stamen. The Serpent Emperor's aura was overbearing. Like a graceful swan, he closed in on Qin Feiyang with lightning speed. Its eyes, which were as big as a grain of rice, were suffused with a gloomy light. Qin Feiyang's mind trembled, and he entered the castle without hesitation. The Snake Emperor was stunned as he scanned the air in bewilderment. But in the next moment, Qin Feiyang appeared below the Snake Emperor out of thin air. Because once Qin Feiyang himself entered the ancient castle would be exposed. And the castle that was exposed would automatically sink, and at that time, it would definitely sink into the ice lake. Who knew how many white jade demonic snakes there were in the ice lake? Once trapped, it was equivalent to falling into a devil's den, and there was no way to escape. So, he couldn't hide in the castle forever. He had to leave this ice lake first. Whoosh! After appearing, Qin Feiyang immediately used the phantom steps and rushed towards the forest by the lake. Although his speed was not as fast as the Snake Emperor, he was not far from the shore. With his speed, the Snake Emperor was stunned for a period of time, which was enough for him to successfully escape. The result was as he expected. When the Snake Emperor regained his senses, he had already escaped from the ice lake. However, before he had time to be happy, a group of people suddenly walked out of the forest in front of him. The leader immediately waved his hand, and a terrifying aura emerged, rushing towards Qin Feiyang like an avalanche. Ah! Qin Feiyang suddenly screamed, and his body was instantly fragmented. Blood splattered, dyeing the void under the night sky red. Dong! Following closely. He was like a cannonball, shot into the ice lake, and was drowned by the huge waves. Just as he fell into the ice lake, the densely packed white jade demonic snakes swarmed towards him. Why are they on the forgotten continent? The bone-chilling cold lake water allowed Qin Feiyang to maintain a trace of consciousness in his drowsy state. But in the face of the countless white jade demonic snakes, crazily biting his body, he seemed to feel no pain, and his eyes were full of disbelief. At the last moment of drowsiness, his mind moved, and he entered the castle. With a bang, he fell to the ground, and it was unknown whether he was dead or alive. Wolf King, Fatso, Lu Hong, the pangolin, and the black dragon snake had already been awakened by Qin Feiyang's screams. Seeing Qin Feiyang appear with dozens of white jade demonic snakes stuck to his body, their expressions all changed. Boom! Wolf King and Fatso attacked almost at the same time. Battle chi gushed out, quickly erasing those white jade demonic snakes. Looking at Qin Feiyang's body, which was full of cuts and bruises, everyone's mood fell into an ice valley. Lu Hong, even more so, cried. Wolf King roared, "Don't cry, quickly look at his injuries." Chapter 782. With this check, Lu Hong's eyes trembled, and her face was full of despair. Wolf King asked, "How is it?" However, Lu Hong didn't seem to hear it, and her eyes were incomparably sad. Seeing this, Fatso, Wolf King, and the three beasts all had an uneasy premonition in their hearts. "Hurry up and say it," Wolf King roared. "His chi sea is broken, his sea of consciousness is also broken, the white jade demonic snake's poison has also permeated his blood and cells," Lu Hong muttered. At the end, she turned to look at Fatso and the others and shouted, "He's about to die." What? As soon as these words came out, like a thunder on the ground, Fatso and the others trembled physically and mentally, and their minds rumbled. His injuries were actually so serious? Who the hell is it? "I swear, I will kill you." Fatso roared again and again, as if he had gone mad. The pangolin and the black dragon snake's eyes were also full of grief and indignation. After getting along for so long, everyone had long regarded each other as family and couldn't bear to part with them. At this time, their hearts were filled with killing intent. What's the use of shouting now? Wolf King roared angrily and shouted, "Fatso, quickly go and find the Spirit Sea Pill, Essence Soul Pill, and Detoxification Pill." Fatso immediately turned and ran towards the altar. The pills refined by Qin Feiyang were basically placed on the altar and stored in a qiankuan bag for everyone's convenience. It's too late. His injuries are too serious, these pills are useless. Lu Hong shook her head, her eyes full of sadness. Fatso's body trembled. It can't be, the mysterious madam is so vicious, but she can still continue to live freely. Although the boss is not a good person, he has never done anything outrageous. He won't be so short-lived. Fatso grabbed the Chinkuan bag, looking for the pills while shaking his head and muttering to himself. Tears also couldn't help but burst out of his eyes. In fact, from the beginning, he had already seen that Qin Feiyang was hopeless. But he was unwilling to give up. He didn't believe that Qin Feiyang would die like this. Therefore, no matter what the result was, he had to try and never give up. Because in the past, Qin Feiyang had never given up on them when their lives were in danger. Fatso, stop looking. Suddenly, the Wolf King's voice was filled with grief that could not be dispersed. Why not? As long as boss is still breathing, we can't give up. Where are the pills? Why can't I find it? Damn it, get the hell out here for Fat Lord, Fatso roared hysterically. His heart was in a complete mess. Finally, he found the pill. But he didn't dare to turn around. Both of his hands clutched tightly onto a medicinal pill. He lay weakly on the altar and cried bitterly. He didn't need to look back to sense Qin Feiyang's current situation. The flame of life was already gone. His aura was also almost gone. He was no different from a dead man. Why, didn't we agree to live and die together? Why did you leave first? Wolf King walked towards Qin Feiyang step by step, muttering to himself. His heart felt like it was being twisted by a knife, and the pain was unbearable. I haven't had the chance to repay you for your kindness in recognizing my worth, the pangolin also cried out sadly. If it wasn't for Qin Feiyang, it would still be an unknown ferocious beast outside the city. It wouldn't have the achievements it had today. Although it didn't say it out loud, it had always been grateful to Qin Feiyang. At this moment, the emotions in its heart could no longer be controlled and poured out. At the same time, Black Dragon Snake also silently shed tears. The most painful one was Lu Hong. She hugged Qin Feiyang tightly in her arms, her eyes full of reluctance and nostalgia. At the same moment, spiritual state, inner hall. Qin Feiyang, what happened to you? Why do I feel that you are about to die? In a cultivation room, a blonde woman also clutched her chest, her face full of panic. Inside the castle. No, boss won't die. Suddenly, Fatso got up and roared. Huh? Lu Hong and the others looked at him in surprise. The flame of life. Back in the Nine Nether Hell, my heart was shattered by the Crocodile Emperor. It was the flame of life that brought me back to life. Fatso said. That's right. The flame of life can save him. Quick, quick, quick. Wolf King's eyes trembled and hurriedly roared. Back then, although that cluster of flame of life merged with Fatso, Qin Feiyang later obtained another cluster of flame of life in the mother crocodile's nest. At that time, Black Dragon Snake was also present. Hearing Wolf King's roar, Fatso glanced at the altar and grabbed a jade box. When he opened it, a majestic life energy surged out like a tide. He saw a palm-sized flame of life lying quietly in the jade box. Fatso grabbed the flame of life, turned around and ran in front of Qin Feiyang. Without waiting for Fatso to speak, Lu Hong stretched out her jade hand, grabbed Qin Feiyang's chin and gently pinched it. Qin Feiyang's mouth opened slightly. Fatso squatted down and stuffed the flame of life into Qin Feiyang's mouth without hesitation. Boom! That majestic life force immediately exploded in Qin Feiyang's body, like waves of anger, crazily surging towards Qin Feiyang's limbs and bones. His broken body also immediately recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. In less than 100 breaths, Qin Feiyang's wounds all over his body healed one after another. His skin was like a newborn. However, although his injuries were healed, Qin Feiyang's life fluctuations did not recover. It's useless. Everyone's heart sank into the ice valley again, and they fell into panic. Outside, by the lake, the group of people who attacked Qin Feiyang was still there. In the air above the ice lake, the Snake Emperor and countless white jade demonic snakes stared at the group of people warily. Because they felt the threat of death from these people, they did not dare to act rashly. But the group of people did not pay attention to them, and their eyes were firmly locked on the ice lake. After an unknown period of time, one of them said, "Lord, Qin Feiyang should be dead this time, right?" "Yes. He was unprepared and took a full blow from me, plus there are countless white jade demonic snakes in the ice lake. He definitely has no hope of escaping. Let's go back and report. As for that ice crystal flower, it will be buried with him," the leader said coldly. Then, he opened a teleportation gate and led the group away. Shwa. Not long after the portal disappeared, a figure of light broke through the air. "Qin Feiyang, where are you? Come out quickly. I know I was wrong, I won't act on my own in the future, okay?" Accompanying it was an anxious voice. That's right. It was the double-winged snow eagle. But it did not know about Qin Feiyang's death, and only thought that Qin Feiyang was deliberately avoiding it because he was angry. Shwa. At the same time, the mysterious lady appeared out of thin air above the ice lake. "Why are you here?" Seeing this person appear, the double-winged snow eagle flew over with a trace of vigilance in its eyes. The mysterious lady said, "Qin Feiyang was ambushed just now, and now he is under the ice lake." "What? Who ambushed him?" The double-winged snow eagle was surprised. The mysterious lady said, "His enemy." The double-winged snow eagle's eyes trembled, and it looked down at the ice lake, and asked, "Is he still alive?" "I don't know." The mysterious lady shook her head. The double-winged snow eagle was stunned, and it said in shock and anger, "How do you know he was ambushed by his enemy?" "I saw it with my own eyes." The mysterious lady said. "You saw it with your own eyes?" The double-winged snow eagle was stunned, and it said angrily, "Then why didn't you save him?" The mysterious lady looked at the double-winged snow eagle and asked, "Why should I save him?" The double-winged snow eagle was speechless. "I remember that you and he have not known each other for long, why do you care so much about him?" The mysterious lady asked curiously. "He is a very loyal person, this empress admires him very much, most importantly, he has not helped this empress open the door of potential, my door of potential. Bastard, come out quickly, help me open the door of potential before you die, okay?" The double-winged snow eagle cried out sadly, full of unwillingness. Looking at the double-winged snow eagle crying like a ghost, the mysterious lady's cheeks twitched. Why are all the beasts around Qin Feiyang like this? The mysterious lady looked at the ice lake again, and said, "Don't cry, he should not be dead yet." The double-winged snow eagle was stunned, and it said in surprise, "How do you know?" "Intuition," the mysterious lady said. The double-winged snow eagle immediately rolled its eyes. If intuition could be relied on, even pigs could climb trees. Suddenly, its eyes turned, and it put away the sky thunder sword, turned into the size of a palm, and leaned in front of the mysterious lady, and said with a smile, "I'm curious to ask, what is the relationship between you and Qin Feiyang?" "My relationship with him," the mysterious lady pondered for a moment, and said with a faint smile, "It could be an enemy, or it could be a friend." The double-winged snow eagle raised its eyebrows, and said angrily, "Can you speak human language?" The mysterious lady looked up and stared at it, and a dangerous signal was released from her eyes. Don't, let's talk nicely, don't fight." The double-winged snow eagle's expression changed, and it quickly waved its wings. "I really admire Qin Feiyang, to be able to tolerate you guys. If it were me, I would have killed you and used you to make soup." The mysterious lady looked at it coldly, and then lowered her head to look at the ice lake again. No one knew what she was thinking, and her eyes flickered. The double-winged snow eagle also tactfully fell silent, but its heart was praying. "Bastard, don't die." As for the Snake Emperor, the moment the mysterious lady appeared, it had already taken the ice crystal flower and dived to the bottom of the lake. Time passed like this, day by day. 3 days later. Inside the ancient castle, Fatso and the others had not closed their eyes, and had been guarding Qin Feiyang's side. However, 3 days had passed, and Qin Feiyang's life force still had not recovered. Even breathing and heartbeat were not present. Their hearts were also getting more and more desperate day by day. It can't be, you will definitely be able to survive, because a lot of people are waiting for you to go back, Lu Hong whispered, gently rubbing Qin Feiyang's face, her eyes revealing deep love. Actually, she had long liked Qin Feiyang, but all this time, she had been hiding this love in her heart. Now, Qin Feiyang's life was hanging by a thread, and she could no longer control this feeling. If possible, she would rather use her life to exchange for Qin Feiyang's life. Fatso looked at Lu Hong, as if he had something to say, but didn't know how to say it. In the end, he sighed and said, God is really unfair to the boss. Yes. Impossible. The Emperor doesn't even know that we are in the Forgotten Continent. Moreover, even if he knew, he wouldn't come in person. However, it should be related to the Emperor, Wolf King said. Under Lu Hong's comfort, Qin Feiyang gradually calmed down and continued to fall into a deep sleep. However, his brows were still furrowed. The pain between his brows was still there, and it was difficult to erase. He was still holding Lu Hong's hand tightly. However, without waiting for everyone to breathe a sigh of relief, Qin Feiyang once again roared hysterically, I refuse to accept this. As the roar sounded, a wave of resentment and hatred rushed out of his body. There was also a shocking murderous aura. At the same time, his long black hair quietly began to change. A trace of blood gradually climbed up the black hair. As soon as this blood color appeared, it was like a plague, quickly spreading to all his hair. Look! Fatso was the first to notice Qin Feiyang's abnormality. When Lu Hong, Wolf King, and the other beasts looked at Qin Feiyang's hair, they were also shocked. What's going on? At this moment, Qin Feiyang's consciousness fell into a strange space. This space was boundless, and there was nothing in it. Where is this? Qin Feiyang stood in the void, looking around in confusion. This is my world. Suddenly, a cold voice rang out. Who's talking? Qin Feiyang shouted. Crack. Boom. But before his voice fell, a gale suddenly rose in the sky, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. The originally pure white clouds quickly turned blood red. Crash. Following closely, it started to rain heavily. However, the shocking thing was that this rain was actually a rain of blood. The entire area was instantly dyed blood red. Qin Feiyang stood in the blood rain, and soon became a bloody man. He stretched out his hand, and the blood rain gathered in his palm. He could clearly sense that each drop of blood rain was filled with a shocking murderous aura. But he felt that this evil spirit was very familiar, as if it was a part of his body. Isn't it very familiar? That cold and sinister voice suddenly rang out from behind him. Qin Feiyang suddenly turned around, and immediately retreated in horror as if he had seen a ghost. He saw that in the void behind him, there was a young man in blood-red clothes. And this young man in blood-red clothes, whether it was his figure or his face, was exactly the same as him. The only difference was that the young man in blood-red clothes had long blood-red hair and a pair of blood-red eyes, like a sea of blood. Moreover, he was like the incarnation of all evil, emitting a strong evil spirit. The young man in blood-red clothes said, I am your incarnation, what are you afraid of? Incarnation? Qin Feiyang was stunned. He frowned and said, Who are you, and where is this? This is the world in the deepest part of your heart. And I am the incarnation of your resentment. To put it bluntly, I am your inner demons. The young man in blood-red clothes said with a sinister smile. Inner demons. Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. Last time in the illusion of the Bridge of Helplessness, he had encountered inner demons, and it took him a lot of effort to destroy the inner demons. But he did not expect that the inner demons would appear again. And it seemed that the inner demons that appeared this time were more terrifying than the inner demons that appeared last time. The young man in blood-red clothes grinned and said, "You guessed right, I am indeed stronger than the inner demons that appeared last time." Qin Feiyang was shocked. He knew what he was thinking. The young man in blood-red clothes said again, "You and I are one, of course I know what you are thinking." "Then why can't I know what you are thinking?" Qin Feiyang frowned. "Because I am the incarnation of resentment, and I can isolate your perception. Of course, if you really want to know, I can let you sense it. After all, we are the same person." The young man in blood-red clothes laughed. Qin Feiyang's eyes darkened, and he said, "I don't care what incarnation you are, disappear immediately." Disappear? It was not easy for me to be born. How can I disappear? Besides, you are not qualified to continue controlling this body. Do you know why? The young man in blood-red clothes sneered. Why? Qin Feiyang asked. Because you are too weak, too useless. This fleshly body could have become even stronger. However, in your hands, it's so weak. It is too wasteful. You are wasting God's gift. Therefore, I want to seize this body and become a new Qin Feiyang. I'm going to make the heavens and earth, and every living thing in the heavens and earth submit to me. And you, disappear from now on. Don't worry, I will help you fulfill your long-cherished wish one by one. That bullshit emperor will soon be buried with you. After saying that, the body of the young man in blood-red clothes suddenly collapsed, turning into a bloody wave that rushed toward Qin Feiyang. Don't even think about it. Qin Feiyang shouted and immediately launched a counterattack. However, he was shocked to find that the blood rain was like iron chains that locked his body, and he could not move. At the same time, Qin Feiyang's long hair outside had turned blood red. Lu Hong and the others looked at this scene and did not know what to do. In the inner world. Stop struggling, it is useless. Every drop of blood rain here is formed from your resentment and malice. Although they were born because of you, they are all used by me now. So now, in this inner world, I am the master. The domineering voice of the inner demons came out from the blood wave and resounded through the sky. Master? You think too highly of yourself. Get lost. Qin Feiyang roared. A strong will rushed out of his body like a volcanic eruption. The blood rain that bound him instantly turned into ashes. Then, his body also collapsed, turning into a white wave that rushed toward the blood wave formed by the inner demons. At the same time, the blood color in Qin Feiyang's hair gradually began to fade. What is going on? Lu Hong and the others were very anxious. Boom! In the inner world, the two blood waves violently collided, and the void also trembled. Give up. If this inner world collapses, we will all disappear. Do you know what it means to disappear? It means that your consciousness will be turned into ashes. The inner demon grinned hideously with an incomparable craziness. Qin Feiyang did not speak. The white wave, with a strong will, crazily collided with the blood wave. Rumble. Crack. A series of loud sounds shook the sky and the earth. Cracks began to appear in the void. Are you really not afraid of death? The inner demon's voice came out, with a trace of panic. If you can't even fulfill your own wish, then what is the point of living? Qin Feiyang said coldly. You are not only a lunatic, but also an idiot. The inner demons was furious. Lunatic or idiot, in short, I will not let you succeed. Qin Feiyang roared. His powerful willpower and monstrous aura actually forced the inner demon to retreat. 100 breaths passed. Qin Feiyang's inner world was shattered and was about to collapse. Stop. The inner demons hurriedly retreated, turned into human form, and stared at Qin Feiyang angrily. Qin Feiyang also stopped in the void, condensed into human form, and said sarcastically, "The inner demons are actually so afraid of death. Who is more cowardly and who is more incompetent?" The inner demons frowned and said helplessly, "Well, I am afraid of you. How about we talk? Do you think it is necessary?" Chapter 784. You don't think so? The inner demons retorted. No. Qin Feiyang said without hesitation. The inner demons laughed maniacally. They looked at Qin Feiyang as though they were looking at an idiot. I've already said that I'm different from the inner demons of the past. The inner demons of the past were formed from your obsession and were born in an illusion. They're not on the same level as me. As for me, as long as the Emperor is still alive, I'll always exist. If you don't believe me, you can try to kill me. The inner demons placed his hands behind his back and smiled confidently. I don't believe you. A cold glint flashed in Qin Feiyang's eyes. He activated the Guiyuan sword technique and the Void End technique at the same time. Clang! 30 sword shadows shook the sky and slashed out with devastating force. The inner demons collapsed on the spot and turned into a bloody mist. Immediately after, the invisible force pounced forward, frantically grinding away at the blood mist. It's useless. It's all in vain. However, soon after, the inner demon's mocking voice rang in the air. I don't believe you. Qin Feiyang was furious. The Crimson Sword Soul, the Nine-Leaf Fire Lotus, and the Purple Gold Dragon Soul roared. Their terrifying power was earth-shattering. Boom! Accompanied by a loud noise, a large part of the bloody mist instantly disappeared. There's hope. Qin Feiyang's eyes lit up. I really don't understand. Where did you see hope? The inner demon sneered. As soon as he finished speaking, the bloody rain in this space collapsed at the same time, turning into a bloody mist that surged in the void. There's only one way in this world to make me disappear, and that's to kill the Emperor. He is our father. The inner demons laughed maniacally. They were filled with an unruly aura. Qin Feiyang was dumbfounded. The laughter of the inner demons was erratic, echoing throughout the inner world. It was as if all the blood mist was his incarnation. A moment later, the inner demons revealed their true forms and mocked, "What do you think? You can't do anything about it, can you?" "Who?" Qin Feiyang let out a long breath and nodded. "All right, let's talk. Why didn't you agree earlier? Why did you have to waste so much time?" The inner demons smiled proudly. "I can give up on seizing this body, but I have a request." "What request?" Qin Feiyang frowned. "During the day, you will be in control of this body. I will not disturb you. But at night, I have to be in control. In other words, we will take turns controlling this body." The inner demon said. "Impossible." Qin Feiyang flatly refused. These inner demons were many times more evil than the inner demons that had appeared last time. If she really let him control the body, who knows what kind of outrageous things he might do. So, there's no room for discussion. Let me tell you, as long as I do something, it's enough to crush you. The inner demons threatened. For example? Qin Feiyang asked. It seems that if I don't tell you the stakes clearly, you won't be afraid. For example, when you are fighting, I will suddenly seize control of this body. Inner demon chuckled and said, looking as if he was certain that he could eat Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang's heart sank. If that was the case, it would be really bad. Because during a battle, the worst thing was to be distracted. And once the inner demons seized control of the body, he would definitely be distracted to fight against the inner demons. When the time came, the consequences would be unimaginable. It seemed that he had to think of a way to control the inner demons. Otherwise, there would be endless trouble. The inner demons saw through Qin Feiyang's thoughts and said disdainfully, "What can you do to control me?" Qin Feiyang was silent. Suddenly, There was a trace of madness in his eyes, and he said, "Since there's no way, then let's die together." As soon as he said that, his body directly collapsed, turning into a huge white wave, and rushed towards the inner demons. Madman. The inner demons' expression changed and quickly said, "Okay, I'll compromise. You can do whatever you want." Qin Feiyang appeared in the void. He was gambling. Since the inner demons were afraid of death, they would use this weakness to threaten him. Sure enough, the inner demons were afraid. He looked at the inner demons and said, "In the future, without my permission, you are not allowed to come out and cause trouble. Okay, you have the final say." The inner demons nodded helplessly, and then said, "But can I have a small request?" "Say it." Qin Feiyang said. "It's boring to stay here all the time. Let me out occasionally to get some fresh air. This request isn't too much, right?" The inner demons said with a trace of pleading. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment and nodded, "I can agree." Then it's settled. The inner demons laughed, then sat cross-legged in the void, closed his eyes, and said no more. Qin Feiyang took a deep look at him, and his figure quickly dissipated. At the same time, in the castle, Qin Feiyang's long hair had returned to normal, and his closed eyes suddenly moved. "He's awake." Lu Hong and the others had been paying attention to Qin Feiyang. When they noticed this abnormality, a trace of surprise appeared on their faces. A moment later, Qin Feiyang finally opened his eyes, and there was confusion in his eyes. "Little Qin Z. Boss." Everyone squatted on the ground and looked at him with concern. "I'm not dead?" Qin Feiyang glanced at them. When he saw the familiar faces, he couldn't help but be absent-minded. "Nonsense. If you're dead, can you still see us?" Wolf King laughed and scolded. "I'm really not dead. I'm really lucky." Qin Feiyang muttered. "It's not that you're lucky. It's the fire of life that saved you." Wolf King said. "What do you mean?" Qin Feiyang was stunned and puzzled. The Wolf King explained the situation in a simple and clear manner. "I see. Then my body," Qin Feiyang suddenly understood, and then looked at his body in surprise. Fatso laughed and said, "It must have become an immortal body like Fat Lord." "Immortal body, then I really got a blessing in disguise." Qin Feiyang murmured, and a smile appeared on his pale face. Boom! But before he could finish his sentence, a powerful aura suddenly rushed out of his body uncontrollably. Moreover, this aura was getting stronger and stronger, and there were faint traces of him breaking through to the 7-star War Master. Qin Feiyang was startled. Fatso and the others also looked at him in shock. What was going on? Suddenly, Fatso seemed to have thought of something and laughed out loud. "Boss, you've earned it." "What do you mean?" Everyone looked at him suspiciously. "Have you forgotten? Back then, after Fat Lord fused with the fire of life, he also broke through a small realm." Fatso said. "That's right." After being reminded by Fatso, everyone remembered. At that time, Fatso was only a 1-star War Master, but once he fused with the fire of life, he directly stepped into the 2-star War Master. He remembered that at that time, Wolf King was still very unbalanced in his heart. Finally, Qin Feiyang's aura indeed soared to the level of a 7-star War Master before stopping. Don't be envious, this is something that can't be envied. Looking at the envious gazes of Wolf King and the other beasts, Qin Feiyang laughed. "Show off." Wolf King waved its claws in disdain, but its eyes started to roll. It was said that there were a total of 9 clusters of fire of life in this world. Now, they had only found 2 clusters, and there were still 7 clusters of fire of life that were scattered outside. If he could find it, it would also have an immortal body. At the same time, Qin Feiyang wanted to get up, but the pain all over his body made him unable to move. Lie down for a while longer. Lu Hong laughed. She took out a heal pill and placed it next to Qin Feiyang's mouth. Qin Feiyang was startled. It was only now that he realized that he was actually lying on Lu Hong's legs. Smelling that alluring body fragrance, he couldn't help but feel restless. He hurriedly raised his hand, took the heal pill, and put it into his mouth. He smiled and said, "It's fine now, help me up." Lu Hong could not help but feel disappointed, and her eyes dimmed. However, she concealed it well, and even Qin Feiyang did not notice it. Next, she looked at Fatso, and saw that Fatso was looking at her and Qin Feiyang with a wretched expression. Her face immediately turned red, and she angrily said, "What are you standing there for? Quickly come and help." "Heh heh." Fatso laughed sinisterly and stepped forward to help Qin Feiyang up. After getting up, Qin Feiyang moved his muscles and bones a little, looked at the crowd, and said, "I've made everyone worry." "Who's worried about you?" Wolf King immediately said. "That's right, don't think too highly of yourself." The pangolin also joined in and teased. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled, a warm current flowing in his heart. These guys were stubborn, but their hearts were better than anyone else's. Suddenly, Fatso raised his eyebrows and asked, "Oh right, who attacked you?" Hearing this, everyone fell silent, and a cold light flashed in their eyes. Qin Feiyang also clenched his hands, silent, and there was a trace of pain in his eyes. A moment later, he let out a long breath and said, "It's the commander of the Black Iron Army." "What? How did he know we were in the Forgotten Continent? Did the old man tell him?" Everyone was surprised. Because only the old man knew that they were in the Forgotten Continent. However, with their relationship with the old man should not betray them. Before this matter is investigated clearly, we can't make wild guesses, Qin Feiyang said. He also did not believe that the old man would expose them. Everyone looked at each other and temporarily put this matter aside. Fatty said, "There's another question. When you were unconscious, why did your hair turn blood red? It's as if you've gone mad. Is that so?" Qin Feiyang looked at them in astonishment. They all nodded. Qin Feiyang could not help but frown. Could it be related to the inner demons? "It is related to me. If I succeed in seizing it, this body will look exactly like me." The inner demon's voice sounded in his mind. "So it's like that." Qin Feiyang muttered, looked at Fatso and the others and smiled. "When I was unconscious, I had a nightmare. It should be related to the nightmare." He did not plan to tell everyone about the inner demons, so that they would not worry about him. Hearing this, everyone did not think much about it, and thought that it was reasonable. The commander of the Black Iron Army went thousands of miles into the Forgotten Continent to kill Qin Feiyang. He must have been instructed by the emperor. Facing this kind of thing, it would be strange if Qin Feiyang did not have a nightmare. Sigh. Fatso sighed deeply, patted Qin Feiyang's shoulder and comforted him. "Boss, don't be sad. No matter how the emperor treats you, we will always stand behind you." "Yes. As long as we are here, you will not be fighting alone." Wolf King nodded. Chapter 785. Qin Feiyang looked at everyone, his eyes filled with gratitude. Although his life was very unfortunate, there were also things to be happy about. That was to be lucky enough to get to know this group of friends in front of him. No matter what setbacks or difficulties he encountered, everyone would follow him and never leave him. This was friendship, no one could give it up. He did not argue and asked, "How long has it been since I fainted?" "Half a month." Fatso said. "How time flies." Qin Feiyang sighed deeply. With a thought, he appeared at the bottom of the ice lake. The bone-piercing lake water made him quiver. Next, he scanned the surroundings, and his brows furrowed tightly. There were white jade magic snakes all around. The Snake Emperor was not far away, and the ice crystal flower was right beside it. Seeing Qin Feiyang appear, the Snake Emperor was surprised. He actually didn't die. Hiss. Following that, it let out a sharp cry, and the surrounding white jade magic snakes immediately swarmed towards Qin Feiyang. Shwa. Qin Feiyang's figure flashed, and as expected, he entered the castle. Wolf King asked, "How's the situation?" Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice, "Not good, the Snake Emperor is hiding at the bottom of the lake. I'm afraid it will be difficult to escape." Lu Hong said, "Don't worry about it for now, hurry up and recuperate." Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. He had just woken up, and his injuries were still very serious. If he were to escape from the ice lake now, he would most likely die. At the same time, the mysterious lady who was standing above the ice lake suddenly revealed a smile on her face. "What are you laughing at?" The dual-winged snow eagle looked at her in confusion. "He really didn't die." The mysterious lady laughed. The dual-winged snow eagle was stunned for a moment, then immediately became overjoyed. It immediately spread its wings and rushed towards the ice lake. The mysterious lady teased, "There is another white jade magic snake at the bottom of the lake, you have to think carefully." The dual-winged snow eagle's eyes trembled, and hurriedly stopped in the air. It raised its head and looked at the mysterious lady pleadingly, and said, "Then can you help him?" The mysterious lady said, "Give me a reason, why should I help him?" The double-winged snow eagle was in a dilemma. It couldn't even figure out the relationship between Qin Feiyang and this woman. What reason could it find? No. Suddenly, a glint flashed across its eyes. If this woman didn't want to save Qin Feiyang, then why did she stay here? There was only one possibility. She was here to save Qin Feiyang. If he said that he wouldn't save it, he would just be teasing it. Thinking of this, the double-winged snow eagle laughed sinisterly. It flapped its wings and soared into the sky, leaving directly. The mysterious madam was stunned. She frowned and asked, "Aren't you going to save him?" "I want to save him. But I don't have that ability. So after thinking about it, I decided to forget about it. Although I didn't manage to unlock the gate of potential, it's still not a loss. At the very least, I managed to get a sacred artifact." The two-winged snow eagle said without turning its head. The mysterious lady's face darkened. This bastard was really unreliable. Next, she ignored the winged snow eagle and looked down at the frozen lake. She waved her hand gently. Boom! Immediately, an invisible force emerged and blasted into the frozen lake below. Accompanied by a loud noise, the entire frozen lake evaporated in an instant, turning into a bottomless pit. Other than the Snake Emperor and the Ice Crystal Flower, the rest of the white jade demonic snakes were also killed. Hearing the commotion, the double-winged snow eagle stopped in the air and turned to look at the frozen lake. Looking at the mysterious lady, its eyes were filled with pride. At the same time, the Snake Emperor was also shocked. He hurriedly rolled up the ice crystal flower and escaped. Boom! However, the mysterious lady only released a little bit of her pressure and imprisoned the Snake Emperor in the air. Subsequently, the mysterious lady said, "Qin Feiyang, come out." In the castle. Hearing the mysterious lady's voice, Qin Feiyang and the others looked at each other. Wasn't this woman massacring the people in the second and first areas? Why was she here? Fatso said, "This old witch must be planning something again." "Boss, you have to be careful." "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded and left the castle. Seeing that the lake water had evaporated, he was not surprised at all. He raised his head and looked at the mysterious lady. Then, he dragged his tired body and flew up into the sky. The mysterious lady looked at Qin Feiyang and teased, "You're not dead even like this. You're really lucky. If you're not dead, how can I die?" Qin Feiyang said with a smile. Hee hee, the mysterious lady laughed heartily and said, "I saved you after all. Aren't you going to thank me properly?" Qin Feiyang landed in front of the mysterious lady and said, "I'm afraid you're not that kind. Although we haven't known each other for long, I didn't expect you to know me so well." "That's right. I didn't save you for nothing. I heard that you can help people open the door of potential. I'm very curious, how did you do it? Also, why did your father cripple your cultivation and send people to kill you from afar?" The mysterious lady said. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and looked at the double-winged snow eagle. The double-winged snow eagle's expression changed and quickly explained, "I said that I can help people open the door of potential. But I didn't say a word about your background. You must believe me." "Didn't say a word?" Qin Feiyang frowned and looked at the mysterious lady suspiciously. "Half a month ago, I met a man who claimed to be the commander of the invincible Black Army in White Fox City. He told me. And I told him about your whereabouts." The mysterious lady smiled. "Bastard." Qin Feiyang clenched his fists and his eyes were filled with killing intent. It turned out that it was this damned woman who told the commander about his whereabouts. "You want to kill me, don't you? Unfortunately, you don't have the ability now. I like to see your helpless face." The mysterious lady laughed. Qin Feiyang said gloomily, "Is it very interesting to play with others in the palm of your hand?" "Yes." The mysterious lady nodded. Qin Feiyang said, "So, the people in the first and second areas have been killed by you?" "Of course." The mysterious lady said. Qin Feiyang's eyes were burning with anger. He gritted his teeth and said, "You will pay for what you have done sooner or later." The mysterious lady said lightly, "That's a matter for the future. Now, please answer my question." "Phew." Qin Feiyang stared at her and finally sighed. He nodded and said, "Okay, as long as you are willing to help, I will show you." "How?" the mysterious lady asked. Qin Feiyang looked at the double-winged snow eagle and said expressionlessly, "Come here." The double-winged snow eagle was stunned. Then, as if he thought of something, he immediately rushed to Qin Feiyang's side. Qin Feiyang entered the castle, took out a potential pill and threw it to the double-winged snow eagle. "It finally begins." The double-winged snow eagle was extremely excited and quickly swallowed the potential pill. At the same time, Qin Feiyang also retreated a few steps, creating a distance between him and the double-winged snow eagle. He looked at the mysterious lady and said, "Release your pressure now. Take it easy, don't kill it." The mysterious lady was a war king. If she released all of her pressure, she would definitely kill the double-winged snow eagle. Seeing Qin Feiyang's mysterious look, the mysterious lady could not help but frown. Previous chapter. Next chapter. The next moment, a wave of pressure emerged and pounced towards the double-winged snow eagle. The strength of this pressure was only 1/10 of her peak. But even so, the double-winged snow eagle instantly entered a suffocating state, its eyes filled with pain. Moreover, the energy that erupted from the potential pill was like a wild horse that had escaped its reins, crazily running around in its body. Even though it was a 9-star war sect, it was still difficult for it to withstand. In an instant, its entire body was dripping with blood as it turned into a blood eagle. "Bastard, are you taking the opportunity to harm me?" the double-winged snow eagle roared. Qin Feiyang said in disdain, "Do you think your life is valuable? Do you need me to use the potential pill to harm you?" But hearing these sarcastic words, the double-winged snow eagle heaved a sigh of relief. Potential pill. At the same time, hearing this name, the mysterious lady's eyes trembled slightly. About 10 breaths later, boom! A muffled rumbling sound suddenly exploded from within the double-winged snow eagle's body. Following closely, from between its eyebrows, rays of resplendent white light blossomed. Potential imprint, born. Qin Feiyang said, "That's enough." Heard. The mysterious lady retracted her pressure and quickly rushed in front of the double-winged snow eagle. She pushed aside the feathers between the double-winged snow eagle's eyebrows, and when she saw the potential imprint, her face was immediately filled with shock. It actually worked. After a long while, she finally regained her senses. She turned around and suddenly looked at Qin Feiyang, and said, "Where did you find this potential pill?" "Why should I tell you?" Qin Feiyang coldly snorted. The mysterious lady looked at him deeply, and said, "Even if you don't say it, I can guess it." Qin Feiyang was surprised. Legend has it that the former emperor of the Heavenly Sun Empire, Mu Tianyang, could also refine a pill that could unlock the door of potential. It was precisely this pill that made the Heavenly Sun Empire flourish, and no one dared to compete with it. But in the end, your ancestor was like a comet, rapidly rising. Not only did he kill Mu Tianyang, but he also destroyed the Heavenly Sun Empire. But since then, the pill that could unlock the door of potential disappeared from the world forever. But I never thought that it would appear in your body now, the mysterious lady said incredulously. Similarly, when Qin Feiyang heard this, he was also surprised. This woman actually knew so much. The mysterious lady smiled and said, "I know far more than you think. How about we make a deal?" "What kind of deal?" Qin Feiyang frowned. The mysterious lady said, "Give me the potential pills recipe, and I will tell you about the Mujia's situation." "Impossible." Qin Feiyang flatly refused. He really wanted to know about the Mujia's situation, but to exchange the potential pills recipe, he couldn't do it. "Kid, you're really stubborn. Anyway, I also gave you so many perfect battle techniques, and I also gave you the Heavenly Thunder Flame and the Ice Flame. Don't you know how to repay me?" The mysterious lady was a little angry. Her eyes looked like she was looking at a white-eyed wolf. Qin Feiyang coldly said, "But you also hurt me a lot. Let's not talk about the past, but this time, if there was no fire of life, he would have already reported to hell. Well, then let's change the condition. Give me some of the pill that can unlock the door of potential, and I will tell you about my origin." Chapter 786. Qin Feiyang's heart skipped a beat. He had always been curious about the mysterious lady's identity. If he could really use some potential pills to find the answer, it would not be a loss. "Sure. But you have to tell me first before I can give you the pills. After all, you're so strong. If you run away with the pills, wouldn't I lose more than I gain?" After pondering for a while, Qin Feiyang nodded and said, "What a vigilant little guy." The mysterious lady mumbled and shook her head. "That won't do. What if I tell you first and you don't give me the pills?" "Do I dare?" Qin Feiyang sneered. "Is there anything you don't dare to do?" The mysterious lady laughed. Qin Feiyang had a space divine item that could hide in. Of course, she had to be careful. Otherwise, if she suffered a loss, she would have no place to complain. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and said, "Seems like we can't come to an agreement. You have to trust me. Although I'm not a good person, my words are trustworthy. How about this? Give me 3 potential elixirs first. After I tell you about my background, you can give me the remaining potential elixirs." The mysterious lady suggested. "You know about the potential pill?" Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. He thought that this woman only knew about the potential pill, and he only intended to take out the potential pill. But he did not expect that this woman even knew about the potential pill. The mysterious lady pursed her lips and smiled. "I said that I know far more than you think. For example, the little creation pill." Qin Feiyang's heart was in turmoil. What exactly was this woman's background? "Okay, I promise you. But before that, you have to help it open the remaining gate of potential." Qin Feiyang pointed at the double-winged snow eagle and said. He did not want to delay any longer. He had to figure out this woman's identity. "This is a small matter." The mysterious lady smiled. After half a day, the double-winged snow eagle finally opened the 5th level of the gate of potential. The reason why he needed so much time was because every time he opened the gate of potential, his body would be severely injured and he would need some time to recuperate. After unlocking the 5th level of the Gate of Potential, the talent and cultivation speed of the double-winged snow eagle had undoubtedly undergone a tremendous change. This made it very excited and unable to extricate itself. Qin Feiyang looked at it and said expressionlessly, "You've gotten what you wanted. Return the heavenly thunder sword to me and you can leave." "What do you mean?" The double-winged snow eagle was stunned, looking at Qin Feiyang in surprise. Qin Feiyang said, "Didn't you follow me to open the door of potential?" The double-winged snow eagle was stunned. It took a while before it regained its composure. Immediately, it said angrily, "Bastard, do I look like a snobbish person?" Qin Feiyang looked at it seriously and nodded. "Yes." "Fuck." The double-winged snow eagle was completely irritable. It roared, "If I were that kind of snobbish person, would have already taken the heavenly thunder sword and flown far away. Why would I stay here and wait for you?" Qin Feiyang frowned and said, "You're waiting for me here, isn't it because you're not satisfied that you haven't opened the Gate of Potential?" The double-winged snow eagle was silent. It looked at Qin Feiyang with disappointment in its eyes. Qin Feiyang was also silent. He stared at the double-winged snow eagle's eyes. Suddenly, he smiled. The double-winged snow eagle raised its eyebrows. What did this mean? Idiot. Can't you tell that Qin Feiyang is testing you? The mysterious lady rolled her eyes and said. Testing? The double-winged snow eagle was stunned. It looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, "Is that so?" "That's right. I don't want to have a ticking time bomb by my side." Qin Feiyang nodded and said with a smile. The double-winged snow eagle had not been with him for long. In addition, it was stubborn and unruly, so he wanted to give it a try. Was the double-winged snow eagle sincere in following him? The result was also very obvious. The double-winged snow eagle following him was not a joke. But the double-winged snow eagle was unhappy. It was fine if he did not believe it, but he actually used such a wicked method to test it. It was too much. "Let me tell you, you can forget about this thunder sword." It snorted coldly and turned its head away in a fit of anger, looking very cold. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. He ignored it and took out 3 potential pills and threw them to the mysterious lady. The mysterious lady caught them in her hands and looked down. Her eyes were shining. "The potential pills have been given to you. Can you say it now?" Qin Feiyang frowned and said. The mysterious lady looked up at him and said with a smile, "Your ancestor and I are from the same time period." "What?" Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled, and he said in surprise, "You know my ancestor?" The mysterious lady looked up, and there was a trace of reminiscence in her eyes. She said softly, "The name of the Qin emperor shook the world." Who didn't know in that era? Qin Feiyang could not help but be absent-minded. Shook the world. How amazing was his ancestor back then? Just how strong was he? A moment later, the mysterious lady retracted her gaze and looked at Qin Feiyang. "Give me the potential pills." Qin Feiyang was stunned and frowned. "You just told me this? Is this not enough?" The mysterious lady said. "Nonsense, what does this have to do with your true identity?" Qin Feiyang said angrily. This woman was clearly playing mind games with him. True identity? The mysterious lady laughed and said, "Did you remember wrongly? I only said to tell you my origin. I did not say to tell you my true identity." Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and thought about it carefully. He could not help but be angry. This woman really did not say it. He rubbed his forehead. Truly, he was smart all his life, but stupid this time. Then he looked at the mysterious lady and said, "Then if I give you the potential pills, will you tell me your true identity?" The mysterious lady hesitated and nodded. "All right, you will know sooner or later anyway. Give me 2 potential pills." Qin Feiyang looked at her suspiciously, took out 2 potential pills, and threw it over. The mysterious lady caught it in her hand, looked at it for a moment, and said in surprise, "It's really a potential pill." Qin Feiyang said impatiently, "Don't dawdle, tell me." After the mysterious lady slowly kept the pills, she looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "I won't tell you." Qin Feiyang's eyes suddenly filled with anger. "But I can tell you, if you really want to investigate the Mu family, then go to the Central Divine Kingdom. Also, for at least 5 years, I won't disturb you again. Of course, I won't appear to save you again. Take care of yourself." After the mysterious lady finished speaking, she opened a teleportation door and disappeared without a trace with the Snake Emperor. However, she did not take the ice crystal flower with her and left it to Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang was originally very angry, but after hearing this, his heart felt much better. He had finally gotten rid of this terrifying female devil, although it was only for 5 years. Then he lowered his head and fell into deep thought. What kind of place was the Central Divine Kingdom? What kind of role did Mu Qing's family play in the Central Divine Kingdom? Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something, and a trace of surprise appeared in his eyes. Mu Tianyang's surname was Mu, and Mu Qing's surname was also Mu. Could the two be related? After thinking about it, he felt that it was not very possible. Mu Qing was in the Forgotten Continent. Mu Tianyang was in the Great Qin Empire. How could 2 people from 2 different places be involved? Taking a step back, if Mu Qing was related to Mu Tianyang, then the person Mu Qing was looking for should be Mu Tianyang. But why Lu Xingchen? In this mystery, what kind of role did Lu Xingchen play? Qin Feiyang scratched his head, but he could not figure it out. Forget it. He shook his head hard. Instead of racking his brains here, he might as well go directly to the Central Divine Kingdom and find out what was going on. He stretched out his hand and grabbed the ice crystal flower. He looked up at the 2-winged snow eagle and said, "Did you kill that ice crocodile?" "No." The 2-winged snow eagle shook its head and said angrily, "That guy's running speed is not normal. I chased for dozens of miles and still couldn't catch up. I told you not to chase, but you insisted. Who's to blame?" Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes and said, "What about the black ice fruit?" "I'm not telling you." The 2-winged snow eagle turned its head and said, "Ha, you've opened the door of potential. You're awesome now, aren't you? Don't forget, the door of potential has a 6th and 7th level." Qin Feiyang said. Hearing this, the 2-winged snow eagle immediately smiled and said, don't misunderstand. I was just joking with you. Look at you." Qin Feiyang looked at it with disdain. The 2-winged snow eagle laughed. Suddenly, a light flashed in front of it, and the small tree appeared out of thin air. The 3 black ice fruits were also intact. At that time, when the ice crocodile swallowed me, I immediately stored the small tree into my Qi, so there was no damage at all. How is it? I'm smart, right? The 2-winged snow eagle said flatteringly. When a beast's strength reached a certain level, its Qi could be used as a storage space to store various items. Of course, humans could do it too. However, humans had Qinkuan bags. Unless it was something extremely important, they would not put it in their Qi. It did not mean that doing so would cause harm to their Qi. It was purely a habit. Qin Feiyang glanced at it snappily and nodded, at least you have some brains." The 2-winged snow eagle pursed its lips and asked sneakily, "Then when are you going to help me open the 6th level of the Door of Potential?" The Door of Potential had a total of 10 levels in the world. Warrior, Martial Master, Martial Ancestor, War King, War Emperor, and so on. The Extreme Warrior realm was the 1st level. The Martial Master realm was the 2nd level. And so on. The 5th level belonged to the War Emperor realm. And the 2-winged snow eagle had already stepped into the 9-star war sect. In other words, it already had the qualifications to open the 6th level. However, the problem was that the potential pill could only open the 4th and 5th levels. It could not open the 6th level. To open the 6th level, you need the small creation pill. At present, there are still a lot of medicinal ingredients for the small creation pill. If you can't wait, then break through first. Qin Feiyang thought for a moment and said. Then let's continue waiting. The two-winged snow eagle said. If he were to break through to the War Saint realm now, then he would have to wait until the 9-star War Saint realm next time. Although he had opened the 5th level and his cultivation speed had greatly increased, compared to opening the 6th level, the difference was like heaven and earth. So, it was better to have short pain than long pain. He would step into the War Saint realm after opening the 6th level. Similarly, when the two-winged snow eagle asked this question, Qin Feiyang realized that the small creation pill was the most important thing right now. This was because he had already stepped into the 7-star War sect and was only 2 small realms away from the 9-star War sect. If he didn't hurry up and gather the medicinal ingredients for the small creation pill, he would probably face the same situation as the two-winged snow eagle. He would be stuck in the 9-star War sect and wouldn't dare to cultivate. However, the small creation pill required 10,000-year-old medicinal ingredients. Where could he find so many in such a short period of time? What a headache. Chapter 787. 3 days later. Qin Feiyang's injuries had finally healed, and his spirit had reached its peak. Then, he brought the winged snow eagle and continued to rush towards the 3rd area. Along the way, the beasts they encountered were basically all from 7 to 9-star War sect. There were also quite a few War Saint level beasts. However, with the deterrence of the Heavenly Thunder Sword, coupled with the fact that they were very careful, it could be considered frightening but not dangerous. At the same time, they also found quite a few 10,000-year-old medicinal herbs in the glacier. Of course, it was impossible for all of them to be small fortune pills medicinal herbs. But even if it was other medicinal herbs, it would still be of great use. Half a month passed. 1 man and 1 beast finally flew out of the glacier and entered a snowy forest. Strange, is it always snowing in the Forgotten Continent? Qin Feiyang walked in the forest and said to the winged snow eagle lying on his shoulder. He had been in the Forgotten Continent for so long, and he had never seen a day without snow. I didn't know before. However, ever since I was born, the snow on the Forgotten Continent has never stopped. The warmest time of the year seems to be May or June, but it's still snowing. The winged snow eagle said. Qin Feiyang frowned. Then the weather here is too strange, isn't it? This kind of thing is controlled by the heavens. What are you worrying about? Hurry up and look carefully. Maybe you can even find a few 10,000-year-old medicinal herbs. The winged snow eagle said. Now, it was especially concerned about the 10,000-year-old medicinal herbs. Because if it didn't open the 6th level of the Gate of Potential quickly, it wouldn't be able to cultivate. Qin Feiyang laughed. 10,000-year-old medicinal herbs can only be found by chance, and can't be rushed. The winged snow eagle pursed its lips. Boom! Suddenly, in the forest on the left, the sound of battle could be faintly heard. Is there a situation? The winged snow eagle was shocked, and then laughed. Do you want to take a look? Only you know how to join in the fun. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at it, retracted his aura, and turned to the left side of the forest. Not long later, a snowy mountain range entered the line of sight of a man and an eagle. The snowy mountain range was more than 1,000 feet tall, like a huge python. It stretched out and emitted a majestic aura. The fluctuations of battle were coming from behind the snowy mountain range. Furthermore, upon reaching that place, the battle fluctuations grew even more intense. The snowy mountain range was trembling. Snow rolled down like an avalanche, toppling mountains and overturning seas. With such a huge commotion, there must be some treasure. The double-winged snow eagle's eyes shone brightly. You're almost on par with the white-eyed wolf. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes. He really couldn't understand why the ferocious beasts around him were all a bunch of little money grubbers. Whoosh! He used the phantom steps and rushed into the sky like a bolt of lightning. He landed on the snowy ridge and looked ahead. Immediately, his pupils shrank. Dozens of miles away, two black figures were fighting a bloody battle. Those two people were extremely powerful, and were evenly matched. They fought until the sky turned dark. Moreover, the heavens and the earth were filled with a vast and mighty saint might. Obviously, both of them were battle saints. Qin Feiyang glanced at the two people. Judging from their aura, they should be one-star battle saints. The double-winged snow eagle said in surprise, "We just walked out of the glacier and we already met two battle saints. Don't tell me that there are as many battle saints as dogs in the third area?" Qin Feiyang's eyes also darkened. If what the double-winged snow eagle said was true, then wouldn't the deeper areas of the fourth and fifth areas be even stronger? The Forgotten Continent was indeed as Lu Xingchen had said, it was not simple. The double-winged snow eagle also restrained its aura to the extreme and said in a low voice, "Let's go, we'll sneak over. Don't act recklessly." Qin Feiyang said. "Don't worry, I still know my limits. However, if there are any treasures, then it's a different story." The double-winged snow eagle said with a sly smile. Qin Feiyang glanced at it speechlessly. He then jumped down from the snowy ridge and quietly approached the battlefield. After dozens of breaths, a man and an eagle were hiding on top of a broken ice peak, watching the two figures fighting. This place was only 3 to 4 miles away from the center of the battlefield. With Qin Feiyang and the double-winged snow eagle's current strength, they could clearly see the faces of the two figures. They were an old woman and an old man, both of whom looked very old. The old woman was emaciated, dark eye bags sunk into her eye sockets, and her eyes emitted wisps of terrifying green light. She was also wearing a dark green robe. She looked like a ghost from hell. The old man, on the other hand, was quite strong, his face was flushed, and he wore a black robe. However, his wrinkled old face was also filled with a murderous aura. The two of them did not speak, as if they had a blood feud and were crazily attacking each other. It could even be said that they were using unscrupulous means. The double-winged snow eagle looked around carefully and said in confusion, "That's strange, I don't see any treasures, why are they all so crazy? What are you thinking? Do you think that people are killing each other for treasures?" Qin Feiyang looked at it helplessly. "That's true." The double-winged snow eagle smiled embarrassedly. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at it and continued to watch the battle. The two of them were on par with each other in terms of strength, and both of them were injured to a certain extent. However, looking at the overall situation, the old man in the black robe had a higher chance of winning. As for the old woman in the green robe, although she was also extremely ferocious, she vaguely gave off a sense of powerlessness. As expected, in less than 100 breaths, the situation began to change. The old man in the black robe became fiercer and fiercer, and the old woman in the green robe was constantly pushed back. Until the end. Even if the old woman in the green robe used all her means, such as battle arts and fighting souls, she could not turn the tables. The old man in the black robe had the upper hand. Boom! The last violent collision, the old woman in the green robe was immediately sent flying, half of her body directly exploded in the void, blood staining the sky, and smashed into the glacier below, deeply buried. However, although the old man in the black robe had won, his injuries were not light. One of his arms was torn apart by the old woman in the green robe. His body was riddled with ghastly cracks, and blood was flowing out. "Stupid woman, you still want to fight with me, you really don't know what's good for you." The old man in the black robe took a deep breath, smiled coldly, and rushed forward, ignoring the injuries on his body. Fight? The two-winged snow eagle was stunned, and immediately became excited as if he had been injected with chicken blood. That old man said the word "fight," which was enough to prove that there must be treasures nearby. "Quick, quick, quick, follow him." It stared at the back of the old man in the black robe, and impatiently urged Qin Feiyang secretly. "Don't rush me, I'm not deaf." Qin Feiyang angrily stared at it, jumped down the ice peak, and landed on the snow below, and then quietly followed up. In his heart, he was also quite surprised. What could make two battle saints fight with their lives on the line to obtain it? The old man in the black robe was seriously injured, and his speed was not even half of his usual, so Qin Feiyang had been following behind him. About a few hundred breaths later, an ice valley appeared in front of them. The old man in the black robe did not stop, and directly rushed into the ice valley. Qin Feiyang and the two-winged snow eagle looked at each other, and cautiously followed in. But when they entered the ice valley, they were dumbfounded. The ice valley was not very big, about a few hundred feet, and was surrounded by ice peaks, and there was only one narrow entrance. Looking around, there was nothing at all. And the old man in the black robe had disappeared. The two-winged snow eagle looked around the ice valley in surprise. The ice valley was only so big, and there was no place to hide. That old man could not have disappeared from the world, but where was he? Qin Feiyang was also looking around, and suddenly his eyes locked on the ice peak in front of them. He saw a dark cave in the ice wall. Could he have entered the cave? Qin Feiyang muttered, and turned into a stream of light, silently landed in front of the cave, and poked his head to look inside. Inside, it was pitch black. But with Qin Feiyang's current cultivation, he could clearly see that there was an ice tunnel under the cave. "Be careful." Looking at the ice tunnel, Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed slightly, and he secretly warned the two-winged snow eagle, and jumped in. It was very cold inside, and the chill was bone-piercing, but the man and the eagle could still bear it. Qin Feiyang walked along the tunnel, and found that the tunnel was slanted downward, as if it led to the underground. And the deeper they went, the more shocking the chill in the tunnel was. After walking for about 1,000 meters, Qin Feiyang's lips were frozen stiff. The two-winged snow eagle lying on Qin Feiyang's shoulder also curled into a ball, shivering. "Damn it, why is it so cold?" It's secretly cursed. There must be something wrong when things are out of the ordinary. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed, and he could not help but quicken his steps, and rush down. Not a single sound was heard. Even his breathing and heartbeat were controlled to the lowest level. After a while, they finally sensed the aura of the old man in the black robe, and he was not far below. And here, Qin Feiyang felt that his limbs were almost frozen stiff. Frowning, Qin Feiyang walked down quietly, and soon he came to a turn. But just as he turned the corner, he retreated like lightning, held his breath, hid behind the ice wall, and looked around. In front of him was an ice cave of about 100 feet, and the old man in the black robe was standing in the middle of the ice cave. And in front of the old man in the black robe, there was an ice blade floating. The ice blade was only a foot long, and it was as if it was condensed out of ice, crystal clear, and had a hazy luster. At the same time, the ice blade was spewing out wisps of white mist, and this white mist was the chill. "So it's so cold here, and it's all because of this," the two-winged snow eagle secretly muttered. But soon after, its eyes were filled with excitement. Qin Feiyang was the same. Because the ice blade was faintly emitting a holy aura. This was enough to prove that it was a holy artifact. Naturally, no one would complain about having too many of such treasures. "Finally got it. With it, my Blue Sea tribe is destined to become the overlord of the 3rd district, even surpass the Pill Pagoda." At the same time, the old man in the black robe stood in front of the ice blade, extremely excited, and his face was full of greed. Surpass the Pill Pagoda, Qin Feiyang was surprised. This old man's ambition was not small. Chapter 788. However, he reckoned that the black-robed old man and the people in the 1st and 2nd regions did not know about the background of the Pill Pagoda. Otherwise, even if he was given 100 guts, he would not dare to have such thoughts. Suddenly, the double-winged snow eagle said, "Don't you think it's strange that there is a sacred weapon here?" "Yes, why?" Qin Feiyang frowned. Sacred weapons were refined by humans. Usually, they were controlled by someone and would not be left outside. Unless, of course, an expert had fallen here in the past. But there were no white bones in the ice cave. It was impossible to say that the white bones had turned into ashes. Because the temperature here was too cold, even flesh and blood would not rot. Just as Qin Feiyang was deep in thought, the black-robed old man suddenly raised his arm and grabbed the ice blade. Don't let him succeed. The double-winged snow eagle's eyes trembled and hurriedly shouted. Then why are you still talking nonsense? Qin Feiyang glared at it and directly took out the Chang Shui and rushed toward the black-robed old man. The double-winged snow eagle also took out the sky thunder sword, full of murderous intent. Who is it? The aura of the sky thunder sword and Chang Shui immediately alerted the black-robed old man. He suddenly turned his head and looked at Qin Feiyang and the double-winged snow eagle. Only then did he realize that there were two little tails behind him. However, when he fought with the green-robed old woman, he was already seriously injured and could only use 1/10 of his peak strength at most. In addition, Qin Feiyang and the double-winged snow eagle's attack was sudden and Chang Shui and the sky thunder sword were two killing weapons. Therefore, even if he reacted in time, even if he was a one-star battle saint, there was nothing he could do. Clang! Puff! The Chang Shui was invincible. It penetrated his chest like lightning and shattered his heart. The heavenly thunder sword followed closely behind. Its sharpness swept across the world and directly sliced him in half, killing him on the spot. Old man, don't you know that there is an old saying in this world, the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind? Looking at the black-robed old man who died with his eyes wide open, the two-winged snow eagle chuckled. Qin Feiyang was also full of smiles. He put away the Chang Shui and looked up at Ice Blade. He really did not expect that he would be able to obtain a saint artifact. Now, the strength of their small team had undoubtedly increased by a large margin. The double-winged snow eagle shuddered. Its four wings wrapped around its small body. It urged, hurry up and drip your blood on it. I'm about to freeze to death. Qin Feiyang glanced at it and saw it curled up and shivering. He couldn't help but laugh. Subsequently, he cut his finger and a drop of blood dripped onto the ice blade. With the emergence of a bloody light, Qin Feiyang immediately felt that the ice blade was like a part of his body. Not only was the bone-piercing cold no longer cold, it even brought him a trace of warmth. Next, he grabbed the ice blade, and with a thought, the cold air that was being released was quickly withdrawn. The temperature in the ice cave also began to gradually rise. The two-winged snow eagle moved its body and chuckled, "See, I am your lucky star. If I am not here, I dare to bet that you will definitely not be able to obtain this saint artifact." As he spoke, he kept the heavenly thunder sword back into his sea of qi. Lucky star? Qin Feiyang's face twitched, and he frowned. You really don't plan to return the heavenly thunder sword to me? Nonsense. I have always been a man of my word. What's more, now that you have another saint artifact, what do you need the heavenly thunder sword for? The two-winged snow eagle snorted. Qin Feiyang could not help but feel a headache coming on. This guy was simply a scoundrel. But it didn't matter. They were all on the same side anyway. It didn't matter who had the heavenly thunder sword. Clang! Qin Feiyang waved his hand and sent the ice blade to the castle. Then, he took the black-robed old man's chinkuan bag and turned to walk out. The two-winged snow eagle glanced at the ice cave and prepared to leave. But suddenly, its eyes locked onto the layer of ice on the ground, as if something had happened. Its eyes were full of surprise. Wait! It hurriedly called out. What's wrong? Qin Feiyang stopped and turned to look at it suspiciously. The two-winged snow eagle stretched out its wings and pointed at the layer of ice on the ground, saying, Look down there, there seems to be a person. There's a person? Qin Feiyang was stunned. He hurriedly turned around and looked at where the two-winged snow eagle was pointing at. At that moment, his eyes were full of surprise. Under the layer of ice, there was indeed a blurry shadow. But whether it was a person or not, he could not be sure. After pondering for a while, Qin Feiyang stretched out his hand and said, "Give me the heavenly thunder sword. Don't even think about it." The two-winged snow eagle hurriedly retreated, keeping a distance from Qin Feiyang, as if it was guarding against a thief. "I have a bad temper." "Tell me, what do you mean?" Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and stared at it angrily. "TSK. Do you think I don't know what you're thinking? Aren't you just trying to find an excuse to get the heavenly thunder sword back?" "Let me tell you, no way," the two-winged snow eagle said. A row of black lines immediately appeared on Qin Feiyang's forehead. He really wanted to strangle this bastard to death immediately. "I'll endure it." He took a deep breath, took out the Chang Shui, and cut open the layer of ice on the ground. After a while, a middle-aged man appeared in front of him. This man was in his 40s, with a rough face and some white hair on his temples. He was wearing a purple robe, but his clothes were ragged. His whole body was covered with wounds and blood. This man had been dead for a long time. There was no sign of life. However, under the ice, this man's body did not decay at all. Even the wounds and blood on his body did not change. It was as if he had just died. The two-winged snow eagle approached and said, "It seems that he is the owner of the ice blade." "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded, pointed at the middle-aged man's heart and said, "This should be his fatal wound." There was a fist-sized bloody hole in the middle-aged man's heart. It penetrated from the front to the back. His heart was also shattered. The two-winged snow eagle circled around the middle-aged man and suddenly looked at the middle-aged man's waist. There was a Qinkuan bag tied there. There are even sacred artifacts. There must be a lot of treasures in the Qinkuan bag. It muttered to itself and ran up excitedly. It quickly removed the ice on the middle-aged man's body and took out the Qinkuan bag. Damn! The moment its mind sank into the Qinkuan bag, it was stunned on the spot. Is it that exaggerated? Qin Feiyang looked at it suspiciously, snatched the Qinkuan bag, and sank his mind into it. Immediately, he was also stunned. His face was filled with disbelief. Inside the Qinkuan bag, there were countless gold coins and medicinal herbs. But the gold coins were only secondary. The medicinal herbs were what shocked them. The number of medicinal herbs was impossible to estimate. There were too many of them. They filled more than half of the Qinkuan bag. And most of the medicinal herbs had a naturally formed tiger-shaped spiritual tattoo. In other words, these were all medicinal herbs that were 10,000 years old. After coming back to their senses, Qin Feiyang and the two-winged snow eagle's eyes trembled. They were overjoyed. There were so many medicinal herbs that were 10,000 years old. They were even more valuable than sacred artifacts. How is it? Now do you admit that I am your lucky star? The two-winged snow eagle said proudly. Yes, yes. Qin Feiyang nodded repeatedly. If the two-winged snow eagle had not discovered it, he would definitely have missed this huge treasure. The two-winged snow eagle chuckled and said eagerly, "Then quickly take a look. Can you gather all the medicinal herbs for the small creation pill? Can you not be so impatient?" Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at it. He quickly calmed down and continued to check the Qinkuan bag. After a while, he was stunned and took out a jade box. When he opened the jade box, a wave of heat suddenly surged out. Alchemy fire. Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. He saw a palm-sized flame lying quietly in the jade box. It was as red as blood. And from the aura of the alchemy fire, he could tell that it was a 6th-grade alchemy fire. Not only did he get a sacred artifact and countless medicinal herbs that were 10,000 years old, but now he also got a 6th-grade alchemy fire. Qin Feiyang was crazy with joy. It seems that this person is also an alchemist. Quickly take a look. Are there any other treasures? The two-winged snow eagle was also drooling. The small creation pill was thrown to the back of his mind. Looking at the two-winged snow eagle drooling, Qin Feiyang was helpless to the extreme. He also secretly swore that when he looked for a partner in the future, he would definitely not find this kind of high-quality goods. After keeping the alchemy fire in the castle, Qin Feiyang continued to check. After a while, an old book floated into the air. Qin Feiyang opened it. The book recorded all kinds of alchemy recipes. After reading for a while, Qin Feiyang lost interest and threw it aside. The alchemy recipes were very complete. There were even alchemy recipes for the Spirit Sea Pill and the Essence Soul Pill. For other alchemists, this book could be said to be priceless. But for Qin Feiyang, it was completely worthless. Because the alchemy recipes recorded in the alchemy scripture were more detailed than this. After a while, a token flew out from the Qinkuan bag. Qin Feiyang grabbed it in his hand and looked down. The token was the size of a baby's palm. It was as white as jade and engraved with a giant python pattern. And on the other side, there were 3 words. Pei Chang Feng. These 3 words were like iron hooks and silver strokes, vigorous and powerful. Pei Chang Feng, Qin Feiyang muttered to himself. He looked at the middle-aged man and said, Pei Chang Feng should be his name. But this giant python pattern, what does it mean? The double-winged snow eagle said impatiently, who cares what it means? Keep looking. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while, put down the token, searched for a while, and took out another alchemy furnace. The alchemy furnace was bronze in color. It was about the size of a wash basin. There was also a giant python pattern engraved on the wall. But there was not the slightest bit of treasure light. It was simple and unadorned. It's just an ordinary alchemy furnace? Qin Feiyang was a little stunned. Only ordinary alchemy furnaces did not have treasure light. However, how could such an expert carry an ordinary alchemy furnace with him? After coming back to his senses, Qin Feiyang decisively cut his finger and dripped his blood to bind it. As soon as the blood contract was formed, a wave of information immediately poured into his mind. It's actually a 6th-grade alchemy furnace. At this moment, Qin Feiyang's body trembled. As he said, it was definitely not that simple. But then, his mind was full of doubts. Since it was a 6th-grade alchemy furnace, how could there be no treasure light? He picked up the alchemy furnace and looked at it carefully. Suddenly, his eyes locked on a certain spot, and a wry smile crept onto his face. It turned out that there were a few imperceptible cracks on the alchemy furnace. And once there were cracks on the alchemy furnace, it was equivalent to reporting it as a waste product. It was impossible to refine pills at all. If he forced himself to refine pills, the furnace would definitely explode. In other words, although this alchemy furnace was a 6th-grade alchemy furnace, it had no value. Chapter 789. There was a python pattern on the token, as well as on the pill furnace. So there must be some meaning behind it. Perhaps he could find the answer in the Qinkuan bag. Qin Feiyang continued to search the Qinkuan bag. But after searching the entire Qinkuan bag, he did not find anything else of value. Not to mention the meaning of the python pattern. Forget it. It's just a pattern, there's no need to delve into it. After pondering for a while, Qin Feiyang simply gave up. He packed up everything and sent it into the castle for Fatso to sort out. How do we deal with this corpse? The winged snow eagle asked. We have obtained his relics, so of course we have to bury him properly. Qin Feiyang said as he used Chang Shui to dig a large hole, placed the corpse inside, and then filled it with ice. Although there were no ice blades, the temperature here was still very low. Soon, those ice cubes merged together and sealed Pei Zhangfeng here. Senior, rest in peace. If there's a chance, this junior will avenge you. Qin Feiyang bowed and left with the winged snow eagle. Although it was purely a coincidence that he obtained Pei Zhangfeng's relics, as a person, he had to have a grateful heart. After obtaining such a large sum of wealth, he definitely had to do something to repay this person. Of course. Whether or not he could avenge Pei Zhangfeng all depended on luck. Perhaps the person who killed Pei Zhangfeng had already died. Therefore, he would not deliberately do it. Not long later, Qin Feiyang and the winged snow eagle flew out of the cave and landed in the ice valley. Looking at the ice tunnel below, Qin Feiyang was filled with emotions. He really did not expect that a chance would actually allow him to encounter such a great fortune. It was really, as the saying goes, opportunities were ethereal things that could be encountered but not sought. Crack. A moment later, Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and the cave collapsed with a loud bang. Pei Zhangfeng would also be buried underground forever. Then, Qin Feiyang looked at the winged snow eagle and said, "You also go to the castle and help count the medicinal herbs." For the sake of the small creation pill, the two-winged snow eagle was naturally very willing. After sending the double-winged snow eagle to the castle, Qin Feiyang soared into the sky and flew outside. But just as he was about to leave the ice valley, a terrifying Saint aura suddenly appeared. "Who is it?" Qin Feiyang was startled, and promptly swept his eyes around. Suddenly, his pupils shrank as his gaze locked onto the ice peak on the left side of the ice valley. At the peak of the icy mountain stood an old woman with disheveled hair and blood all over her body. It was the green-robed old woman who had been fighting with the black-robed old man. He didn't die? Qin Feiyang's face was full of disbelief. One had to know. At that time, half of this person's body had been destroyed by the black-robed old man. It was impossible for him to survive. However, at this moment, not only had the shattered half of his body been repaired, but it was also standing before him, alive and well. Was he dreaming? The saint's might surged forth, imprisoning Qin Feiyang. The green-robed old woman laughed sinisterly. "Kid, you're very capable. You actually hid in the dark and reaped the benefits of the fisherman." Qin Feiyang's heart trembled. He pretended to be shocked and said, "Senior, what do you mean by this? Has this junior ever seen you, senior? Continue pretending." The green-robed old woman looked at him sarcastically. "Pretend? No. This junior really doesn't understand." "Senior, what are you talking about?" Qin Feiyang said very innocently. "You don't understand? Little fellow, don't play tricks in front of this old woman. You're still too inexperienced. When you followed that old thing into the ice valley, I was also following behind you." The green-robed old woman sneered. Qin Feiyang frowned and laughed. "You should have said so earlier. I don't need to act anymore. This act is quite tiring." Then he smiled and asked, "Since you found me, why didn't you follow me in?" Looking at the smile on Qin Feiyang's face, the green-robed old woman was quite surprised. He had thought that after being exposed, this kid would be nervous and afraid. But he didn't expect that he would actually dare to laugh. He had guts. This old woman didn't follow in because this old woman was injured and didn't have the confidence to kill that old thing. So, instead of running in and taking the risk, it's better to stay here and wait for an opportunity to move. I thought that you would be killed by him, but I didn't expect that the person who came out in the end would be you. The green-robed old woman did not hide the injuries on her body, and there was a trace of disbelief in her eyes. "Maybe I'm lucky." Qin Feiyang grinned. The green-robed old woman's eyes turned cold, and said, "Don't talk nonsense with me. In short, do you want to live?" "Of course," Qin Feiyang said without hesitation. The green-robed old woman said, "Then answer this old woman's question honestly. Is that old thing dead or alive now? Isn't it obvious?" "He's already dead." Qin Feiyang did not hide it. "Who killed him?" The green-robed old woman frowned. Me. Qin Feiyang nodded. You? The green-robed old woman looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously, her face full of disbelief. At that time, there was only him and me in the ice cave. Other than me, who else could it be? Qin Feiyang shrugged and said. The green-robed old woman said, I seem to remember that there was a snow eagle on your shoulder at that time. This, to tell you the truth, Senior, that snow eagle is Junior's partner. Just now, when we were ambushing that old fellow in the ice cave, we were discovered by that old fellow. In order to save me, Snow Eagle unfortunately died in his hands. But in the end, I finally killed that old fellow and took revenge for it. Qin Feiyang sighed, there was an unresolvable sadness between his brows. In order to save the master, you did not hesitate to sacrifice yourself. You are very lucky to have met such a loyal companion. However, you are only a 7 stars war sect. Even if that old thing is heavily injured, you don't have the ability to kill him. Obviously. The green-robed old woman still did not believe Qin Feiyang's words. I was lucky. Qin Feiyang once again used this very convenient and very useful excuse. Luck? The green-robed old woman sneered and said, all right, it doesn't matter how he died. As long as he's dead, it's fine. Hand over that ice blade. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows, and said, Senior, aren't you making things difficult for me? While he was speaking, he was also secretly observing the old woman's injuries. Although half of the old woman's body had already been repaired, her aura was still very weak. Her face was also pale. It was obvious that the damage caused by the black-robed old man had not healed. Qin Feiyang was thinking whether or not he could give it a try. Because, if he didn't get rid of this person now, then this person would definitely chase after him and beat him up in the future. Moreover, when this person's injuries were healed, it would be even harder to deal with him. So, if he wanted to eliminate future troubles, he had to take advantage of the present. However, judging from the strength of the aura, although the green-robed old woman was also injured, her situation was better than the black-robed old man's at that time. Therefore, Qin Feiyang was a little hesitant. Making things difficult for me? Hearing Qin Feiyang's words, the green-robed old woman seemed to have heard the biggest joke in the world and couldn't stop laughing. Her wrinkled face was also full of sarcasm. Little guy, haven't you heard of a saying? The treasures of the world belong to the capable. You are not qualified to have such a sacred object like the ice blade, and you don't have the life to enjoy it. I don't want to talk nonsense with you. Hand it over, and I can spare your dog life. The green-robed old woman said, obviously beginning to lose her patience. Hearing that, Qin Feiyang secretly sneered. What do you mean by the capable? Do you really think of yourself as a scallion? But on the surface, he pretended to be surprised and asked, can you really let me go? I mean what I say. The green-robed old woman nodded, but there was a trace of killing intent hidden in the depths of her eyes. You really didn't lie to me? Qin Feiyang confirmed again. The green-robed old woman's face darkened on the spot. Senior, don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't believe you. It's because I'm too kind and easy to believe, so I'm often deceived. So this time, I want to confirm it properly. Qin Feiyang said with a face of sincere fear. Kind? The green-robed old woman's face twitched. Could a person who dared to kill and rob be a kind person? Who was he kidding? She was patient and comforted, don't worry, I always keep my word and never break it. Qin Feiyang looked at her suspiciously, and finally nodded, okay, I'll believe you this time. Then hurry up. The green-robed old woman urged impatiently. You're using your sacred power to imprison me. How can I get it for you? Qin Feiyang said. That's right. The green-robed old woman patted her head. With a thought, the sacred power that trapped Qin Feiyang was reduced by more than half. Phew. Qin Feiyang let out a long breath. Now, the sacred power of a 1-star battle saint could no longer imprison him, but he had to pretend to numb the green-robed old woman. He pretended to move his muscles and bones, and then waved his hand. Clang! The ice blade suddenly appeared out of thin air in front of him. As soon as the ice blade appeared, the green-robed old woman's eyes also burst out a bright light. That was greed. Quickly erase the blood contract and throw it over. The green-robed old woman urged, and even her breathing was a little rapid. Throw it over? Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows imperceptibly. His plan was to let the green-robed old woman come over to get it herself, or personally deliver it to the green-robed old woman. When the time came, he could call out Wolf King and the others in an instant and quickly kill them while they were unprepared. So, if he threw it over, his plan would not be able to be carried out. But he did not know. The green-robed old woman was also very wary of him. As an old monster who had lived for countless years, how could she be an idiot? The young man in front of her was able to kill the black-robed old man. Even if it was a sneak attack, it was enough to show that he must have some extraordinary means. It was not easy to escape from the gates of hell. She did not want to fall into the hands of this little kid because of carelessness. A one-star battle saint being schemed against by a battle master would become a joke. But the biggest reason was still because she was injured. Otherwise, she would have already snatched it. Didn't you hear what I said? Quickly erase the blood contract and throw it over. Seeing that Qin Feiyang did not move, the green-robed old woman became more vigilant. What a suspicious old bastard. Qin Feiyang secretly cursed. Obviously. He also noticed the green-robed old woman's vigilance. He raised his head and looked at the green-robed old woman, reached out his hand and stroked the ice blade, and sighed, I really can't bear to do it. This was purely to dispel the green-robed old woman's vigilance. He wanted the green-robed old woman to think that he did not move because he could not bear to do it, and not because of ulterior motives. The green-robed old woman really believed it. Because this was a matter of course, there was no flaw. After all, the ice blade was a sacred weapon. Who would be willing to give it to others? How about this? The two of us can be considered to be fated. You give the ice blade to this old woman, and this old woman will give you 2 superior battle arts as compensation for your loss. The green-robed old woman said. However, the so-called compensation was just a delaying tactic. When Qin Feiyang heard this, he also beat her at her own game. He pretended to be very happy and asked, Do you have any auxiliary battle arts? Yes. Chapter 790. Qin Feiyang was overjoyed. Holding the ice blade, he ran towards the old woman in a green robe excitedly. Stand there and don't move. Just throw it over. The old woman in a green robe's face changed as she hurriedly shouted. Qin Feiyang slammed on the brakes and stopped in the air. He was extremely annoyed in his heart. Even this didn't dispel her wariness. Why was this old fox so difficult to deal with? The old woman in a green robe said impatiently, Can you hurry up? Don't waste my time. Okay, I'll erase the blood contract right away. Qin Feiyang nodded repeatedly. But suddenly, he lowered his head again and hesitated. What's the matter now? Seeing this, the old woman in a green robe was about to go crazy. Can't you be more straightforward? Qin Feiyang looked up at her and said, Junior thought about it. The auxiliary battle art is very precious, but it can't be compared with the sacred weapon. Why don't you give me a few more? Kid, I'll give you a piece of advice. Don't be unsatisfied. Hearing this, the old woman in a green robe clenched her hands and a trace of astonishing hostility emerged in her eyes. And she didn't hide it. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang not only didn't panic at all, but there was also a trace of pride in the depths of his eyes. Alas! Senior, it's not that Junior is unsatisfied, but it's really too much of a loss. How about this, replace the superior battle art with a perfect battle art. Junior is not greedy, just one will do. Qin Feiyang said solemnly. The old woman in a green robe's eyes became more and more gloomy. Qin Feiyang asked cautiously, could it be that Senior doesn't have a perfect battle art? He wasn't talking nonsense when he said this. Since he couldn't get close to the old woman in a green robe, then he would change to another way. Infuriate this old fox. Once this old fox was angry, she might take the initiative to snatch it. It was also clear that his words had played a certain role in this matter. No. The old woman in a green robe gritted her teeth. Her patience had been challenged by Qin Feiyang, which made her almost on the verge of rage. No? Aren't you a battle saint? Why don't you even have a perfect battle art? Senior, don't try to trick me. Qin Feiyang said unhappily. I really didn't. The green-robed old woman spoke word by word. She clenched her fists so tightly that they had turned white. He doesn't even have a perfect battle art. Isn't he a little too weak? Qin Feiyang muttered. Although his voice was very soft, it was clearly heard by the old woman in green. Of course. He deliberately said it for the green-robed old woman to hear. Boom! Immediately, a terrifying aura rushed out from the old woman's body. In the meantime, the previously weakened saint aura suddenly strengthened, imprisoning Qin Feiyang in the void. Senior, what are you doing? Let's talk things over, don't fight. Qin Feiyang's expression also changed on the spot, and he hurriedly roared in horror. Congratulations. You've completely worn out my patience. Now, even if the Heavenly King comes down, he won't be able to save you. The green-robed old woman laughed sinisterly. The saint aura continued to strengthen. Qin Feiyang's face was distorted and full of pain. And the pores all over his body were spurting blood. In an instant, he became a bloody man. At the same time, Qin Feiyang was also quite annoyed. The plan did succeed. The green-robed old woman was enraged. But this old fox just wouldn't get close to him. He racked his brains to think, what else could he do? Suddenly, an idea flashed in his mind. Boom! The next moment, he suddenly raised his head, forcibly broke through the shackles of the saint aura, and shouted at the green-robed old woman, if you don't give me a perfect battle art, I won't give you the ice blade even if I die. After saying that, he turned around and fled in panic. Looking at Qin Feiyang's back, the green-robed old woman was extremely shocked. He could actually break through her saint aura. This little bastard, sure enough, was not simple. But immediately after, a monstrous anger rose from her body. He could obviously break the shackles of the saint aura, but he didn't do so. He even talked a lot of nonsense with her. He was obviously playing with her. You're courting death. She took a step forward, carrying an astonishing killing intent, and chased after Qin Feiyang like lightning. Qin Feiyang also deliberately did not use the phantom steps, so he quickly closed the distance by more than half. He looked back and immediately turned pale with fright. He quickly stopped in the air and waved his hand. Senior, I know I was wrong. Don't come over, I will immediately erase the blood contract. Too late. The green-robed old woman smiled coldly. In her opinion, Qin Feiyang's extraordinary means was to be able to break free from the shackles of the saint aura. And this, for her, was not a threat at all. Therefore, she didn't want to talk nonsense with Qin Feiyang anymore. Qin Feiyang's face was as pale as paper, and he shouted, Don't, I was really wrong, please spare me. The green-robed old woman remained silent, her expression extremely cold, and her eyes were filled with killing intent. Whiz! In the blink of an eye, she rushed in front of Qin Feiyang, her old hand like an eagle's claw, grabbing towards Qin Feiyang's head. Hey! Do you really think I only have this much ability? But at the same time, Qin Feiyang grinned, the panic and fear on his face instantly disappeared, and was replaced by a strong sense of ridicule. The green-robed old woman was stunned. Immediately after, a strong sense of crisis, like a tide, rose in her heart. She retracted her arm without hesitation and retreated quickly. Too late. But at the same time she retracted her arm, Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. Boom! Clang! Wolf King, Fatso, and the winged snow eagle appeared almost at the same time. Wolf King and Fatso had already activated their transformation state, each holding a rib. The winged snow eagle also held the sky thunder sword, its terrifying edge toppling the mountains and overturning the seas. Old bastard, you dare to provoke us, you're courting death. In the blink of an eye. As soon as one man and two beasts appeared, they swung the rib and the sky thunder sword, smashing towards the green-robed old woman. Bang! There was no suspense. In the face of this sudden scene, the green-robed old woman had no time to counterattack. Two ribs had smashed into her chest. With a crisp crack, her heart shattered on the spot, her entire chest caved in, and her flesh and blood were a mess. At the same time, the sky thunder sword fell, like cutting tofu, cutting off the green-robed old woman's left arm. Subsequently, the green-robed old woman crashed into the ice valley below like a meteorite. The entire ice valley was razed to the ground in an instant. Hee hee, another battle saint has been killed. Why am I so awesome? The two-winged snow eagle chuckled. Idiot. Fatso and Wolf King looked at it with disdain, then looked at the shattered ice valley below. Is she dead? Fatso frowned. Do you still need to say it? If she's not dead, then there's no justice in the world. The winged snow eagle said. Boom! But before he finished, accompanied by a loud noise, the green-robed old woman rushed out from under the ice, her body dripping with blood. What? Are you the reincarnation of a cockroach? The winged snow eagle was dumbfounded. Qin Feiyang, Fatso, and Wolf King were also in disbelief. You little bastards, just you wait. I'll be back soon and kill you all. The green-robed old woman glanced at Qin Feiyang and the others with resentment, then turned around and ran away without looking back. You still dare to threaten us? Wolf King's eyes flashed with a cold light. At the same time, the winged snow eagle's eyes focused, staring at the green-robed old woman's right hand, and said in surprise, Look, she seems to be holding something in her hand. Qin Feiyang, Fatso, and Wolf King heard and looked over. There was a palm-sized flame in the green-robed old woman's right hand. The flame was completely green like jade, and it emitted strands of green brilliance. That is, the flame of life. Go after her. Qin Feiyang, Fatso, and Wolf King shouted almost at the same time. And at the same time, they jumped onto the back of the winged snow eagle. What are you doing? The winged snow eagle was a little confused. Wolf King said, Nonsense, you're the fastest. Don't dawdle, the flame of life has a strong recovery power. If we don't get it quickly, I'm afraid we won't have another chance. Fatso shouted anxiously. Damn, this is too much, you actually want to use me as a mount. The winged snow eagle muttered in dissatisfaction, and instantly activated its fighting soul, flapping its 6 wings, and suddenly turned into a stream of light, chasing after the green-robed old woman. Faster! Fatso urged. Don't rush. Her heart is broken, it won't be easy to recover in such a short time. With this guy's speed, it'll be easy to catch up with her. Qin Feiyang said. That's right, the eunuch is more anxious than the emperor, it's talking about people like you. The winged snow eagle despised. Fatso snorted, Don't talk nonsense, be careful that Fat Lord will destroy you. What the hell? Who gave you the guts to say such words? Come, let's have a fight, let's see who will destroy who. The winged snow eagle was unhappy, and directly started to clamor. Qin Feiyang could not help but feel a headache coming. What kind of time is it, still in the mood to bicker? As Qin Feiyang expected, in less than 100 breaths, the winged snow eagle caught up with the green-robed old woman. Swoosh! The two men and two beasts spread out, trapping the green-robed old woman in the middle. The winged snow eagle ridiculed, "Where are you going?" The green-robed old woman's eyes darkened, and said, "Who exactly are you? Why have I never heard of you in the third area?" Although these two men and two beasts had not stepped into the realm of War Saint, their methods were extremely shocking. Moreover, she could tell at a glance that the heavenly thunder sword was a sacred artifact. And those two ribs, although they did not have the holy aura, gave her the feeling that they were no worse than sacred artifacts. If you added the ice blade in Qin Feiyang's hands, that was to say, these little bastards had a total of 4 sacred artifacts. For sacred artifacts, what kind of concept was this? She didn't dare to think about it. Qin Feiyang said indifferently, "Who we are is not important, what's important is the fire of life. Hand over the fire of life, and I'll spare your dog life." Hearing this, the green-robed old woman was so angry that she was about to vomit blood. Previously, she had used this kind of high and mighty attitude and tone to look down on the young man in front of her. But now, the tables had turned, and she, the War Saint, was being looked down upon. She understood the principle of 30 years in the East, 30 years in the West. But wasn't this too fast? She was unwilling. Looking at the fire of life in her hand, she raised her head to look at Qin Feiyang, and said, "How can I believe that what you said is true? Don't treat me like a villain like you. I always keep my word. Also, don't try to stall for time," Qin Feiyang said. The green-robed old woman glanced at the two men and two beasts, and couldn't help but feel despair in her heart. To think that she, a dignified war saint, was actually forced to such an extent by 4 war masters. It was simply too laughable. And the reason why Qin Feiyang did not directly snatch it was because he was worried that the green-robed old woman would do something desperate and swallow the fire of life. Chapter 791. In the sky, heavy snow fluttered, and cold currents swept in all directions, chilling to the bone. Qin Feiyang and the others stood in the air, holding battle weapons in their hands, their bodies filled with a murderous aura. The old woman in green robes who was surrounded in the middle looked particularly helpless, giving off a desolate feeling. "What are you waiting for? Quickly throw it over." Fatso raised his eyebrows and stretched out his hand. The old woman in green robes glanced at Fatso, then looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "I hope you can keep your word." With that, she waved her arm, and the fire of life flew out of her hand towards Qin Feiyang. However, at this moment, a white figure rushed up into the sky like lightning. "Who?" Qin Feiyang and the others' faces changed as they rushed towards the fire of life at the same time. But the white figure was too fast, grabbing the fire of life in front of them. "Hee hee. I finally got it." Immediately after, a burst of excited laughter reverberated in the void. Qin Feiyang and the others stopped in the air and looked at the person. It was a middle-aged man wearing a white robe. His facial features were as sharp as a knife, and he looked extremely cold. Cui Qingqing. At the same time, the old woman in green robes also stared at the middle-aged man, her old eyes flashing with a shocking cold light. Cui Qingqing waved his hand and kept the fire of life in his Qinquan bag, then turned to look at the old woman in green robes and said, "Old witch, you didn't expect that I would suddenly appear. Why are you here?" The old woman in green robes said gloomily, "I've always been here, it's just that you didn't notice." But then again, 2 great battle saints were actually plotted against by a few little guys. "You guys are really embarrassing." Cui Qingqing's eyes were full of ridicule. "Damn it." The old woman in green robes cursed. Cui Qingqing's gaze turned and looked at Fatso and Wolf King, and finally looked at Qin Feiyang and smiled. "Young man, you are very good, I admire you very much." "Is that so?" Qin Feiyang smiled faintly, but he became vigilant in his heart. The aura emitted by this person was not any weaker than the green-robed old woman. This was enough to prove that he was also a battle saint. Of course, That's because there aren't many people who would dare to plot against them in the 3rd district. What do you think? Give me the ice blade, the sword, and the 2 ribs. Not only will I help you kill this old witch, but I will also invite you to my Black Lion tribe as guests. Cui Qingqing said with a smile, looking very sincere. Don't believe his nonsense. He looks like a gentleman on the surface, but he's actually a sinister and cunning villain. The green-robed old woman hurriedly said. You're about to die, why are you still talking so much nonsense? Cui Qingqing raised his eyebrows. He seemed to be very dissatisfied with the old woman's actions. Black Lion Tribe, Qin Feiyang glanced at Cui Qingqing, then looked at the green-robed old woman and asked, Are you close? The green-robed old woman said, My Red Smoke Tribe and his Black Lion Tribe have been fighting for hundreds of years. Of course, we're very close. Qin Feiyang nodded and looked at Cui Qingqing with a smile. In that case, I really can't believe your words. Cui Qingqing's eyes flashed. Are you sure? What do you think? However, if you can give me the fire of life, I can consider following you to your tribe as a guest. Qin Feiyang smiled. You're actually talking about conditions with me. Interesting. Cui Qingqing smiled, but his eyes were cold. Qin Feiyang stared at this person vigilantly and said to himself, Do you dare to fight? Yes. Wolf King said without hesitation. How dare you steal food from our mouths? Even if he's a battle saint, we'll make him pay the price. That's right. We have 2 sacred artifacts, Mu Tianyang's God's Bone, and even Chang Shui. What's there to be afraid of? Fatso and the 2-winged snow eagle also secretly replied. Their words were filled with a shocking killing intent. When Qin Feiyang heard this, his blood boiled. He said to himself, Then let's kill him and take back the fire of life. Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, they did not hesitate any longer. Their auras exploded and they charged towards Cui Qingqing at the same time. Cui Qingqing was stunned. The green-robed old woman was also stunned. Originally, they thought that Qin Feiyang and the others would choose to run away. But they did not expect that not only did they not run away, they even took the initiative to attack. A few mere battle masters dared to challenge a battle saint, and a battle saint at his peak. Were they stupid? Your guts are truly beyond imagination. However, I have to admit that you are very stupid. Do you know what it means to be an ant trying to shake a tree? I'll let you see it now. After Cui Qingqing regained his senses, the corner of his mouth immediately pursed into a mocking smile. Boom! The next moment, a terrifying holy aura rushed out of his body like a tide and rushed towards Qin Feiyang and the others. Then do you know that an ant can also topple an elephant? Qin Feiyang laughed coldly. The 2 men and 2 beasts did not stop at all. They did not dodge and directly faced the holy aura. Clang! The heavenly thunder sword and ice blade buzzed. Although they did not recover, they still exuded a shocking holy aura. And the 2 ribs were even stronger than sacred artifacts. Naturally, they could also block the holy aura. At this moment, they were like a sharp arrow, unstoppable, quickly closing the distance between them and Cui Qingqing. Seeing this, Cui Qingqing's eyes also became serious. Although he did not care about the strength of Qin Feiyang and the others, he did not dare to underestimate the lethality of the 4 sacred artifacts. Fortunately, Qin Feiyang and the others were not strong enough to recover the sacred artifacts. Otherwise, even he could only escape. Boom! His body shook and a wave of yellow battle chi rushed out of his body. In the blink of an eye, a huge fist appeared out of nowhere. It was like a mountain with a terrifying aura that could topple the mountains and overturn the seas. The ice peaks of different heights nearby collapsed like dead trees. The sound of the explosion was deafening. Since you are so stubborn, then go to hell. Sky-shattering fist. Cui Qingqing roared angrily. His black hair fluttered. That huge fist shook violently in the void. With a destructive aura, it blasted towards Qin Feiyang and the others. I will block it. You guys work together and be sure to seriously injure him in one blow. Qin Feiyang secretly shouted. No, you are too weak now. I will block this fist. The double-winged snow eagle hurriedly said. Cui Qingqing was also a one-star battle saint, but compared to the heavily injured green-robed old woman, he was much stronger. And this sky-shattering fist, judging from its aura, should be a superior battle art. A one-star battle saint with the enhancement of a superior battle art. In other words, the power of Cui Qingqing's fist was comparable to that of a four-star battle saint. Therefore, the dual-winged snow eagle was worried that with Qin Feiyang's strength, he might not be able to block this punch. If he couldn't block it, then he would definitely be smashed to pieces. But it was different. It had a higher cultivation than Qin Feiyang, a 9-star battle sect. And now, it had mastered the perfect battle art, the goshawk's tyrannical body. Coupled with the heavenly thunder sword, if it went all out, its chances of success would definitely be higher than Qin Feiyang. However, Qin Feiyang did not listen to it and directly used the phantom steps to welcome the fist. He naturally knew about the dual-winged snow eagle's worries and was very touched. Because this meant that the dual-winged snow eagle had completely integrated into this small team. Therefore, he could not let the dual-winged snow eagle take the risk. Because, although the dual-winged snow eagle was a 9-star battle sect and was only a small realm away from Cui Qingqing, the difference between a battle sect and a battle saint was too great. It was no exaggeration. If there was no extraordinary method or external help, a 1-star battle saint could instantly kill a large number of 9-star battle sect. Therefore, he dared to conclude that the dual-winged snow eagle would definitely not be able to block this punch. As for him, although his cultivation was not as good as the dual-winged snow eagle, in terms of methods, the dual-winged snow eagle could be said to be far behind. For example, the return word tactic could ignore the barrier between realms and directly challenge those of a higher realm. And then there was Chang Shui and the ancient castle, which were both mysterious and unfathomable divine objects. And now, he had fused with the fire of life, and with the protection of the battle word tactic, it was equivalent to a true immortal body. Therefore, he was very confident that he could block Cui Qingqing's punch. However, the dual-winged snow eagle was very angry about this. This bastard, why didn't he listen to his advice? At the same time, Cui Qingqing was also rather surprised. But immediately after, his face was filled with disdain. He no longer paid attention to Qin Feiyang. Shua! He took a mysterious step, and his speed suddenly doubled as he charged towards Fatso and Wolf King. In his eyes, Qin Feiyang was already a dead man, and there would be no accidents. Hee. It seems that he really thinks of us as soft persimmons that he can do whatever he wants. Wolf King and Fatso looked at each other and laughed sinisterly. What's going on? How can you still laugh? The dual-winged snow eagle looked at the man and wolf's behavior and felt a little uncomfortable. Young man, you're still too young. Little Qin Zi never does anything that he's not sure of, so there's no need to worry at all. Yes, just do as boss says. Wolf King and Fatso patted the dual-winged snow eagle's head, and fearlessly faced Cui Qingqing. Is that so? The dual-winged snow eagle looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously, and then followed behind Fatso and Wolf King and swept towards Cui Qingqing. Seeing this, the sarcasm on Cui Qingqing's face became thicker, and then he looked at the Sky Thunder sword and the two ribs, his eyes full of greed. This kind of sacred object is simply a waste in the hands of idiots like you. He smiled contemptuously, as fast as lightning, and in the blink of an eye, he landed in front of Fatso and Wolf King. He stretched out his hands and slapped at Wolf King and Fatso's chests. We'd love to. What? Since you're so awesome, why don't you take out a sacred object and show us? Fatso and Wolf King sneered. At the same time, they swung the ribs, as if holding two dog-beating sticks, and smashed at Cui Qingqing's arms. Cui Qingqing frowned and did not dare to touch it with his bare hands. In a flash, like a ghost, he circled behind the two beasts and locked his eyes on the dual-winged snow eagle. The dual-winged snow eagle was a 9-star battle sect and the biggest threat. As long as he got rid of it first, it was tantamount to victory. Damn it, do you want to die? The dual-winged snow eagle was naturally unhappy. Fatso and Wolf King were in front of it. Instead of dealing with them first, they wanted to kill it first. Did they think it was easy to bully? Goshawk tyrant body. It roared, and a blood-red aura rushed out of its body. In less than half a blink of an eye. Its feathers and eyes turned blood-red, as if they were dyed with blood. Moreover. Chapter 792. This aura, could it be a perfect combat art? Cui Qingqing stared at the double-winged snow eagle, dumbfounded. At least you have a good eye. The double-winged snow eagle sneered. Impossible, how could the legendary perfect combat art exist in the third zone? Cui Qingqing was in disbelief. At the same time, in the sky, Qin Feiyang was very close to the giant fist. Boom! He decisively activated the combat art, raised his arm at lightning speed, and slammed his palm in the air. Crash! A glaring golden light suddenly roared and turned into a giant wave, rushing toward the fist. At that moment, the two collided, and an earth-shattering explosion was heard. Qin Feiyang immediately groaned and flew far away like a meteorite. Blood kept spurting out from his mouth. His right hand, which had used the return art, was instantly crushed and turned into a bloody mist. Even his body was quickly covered in bloody scars. Blood gushed out like a spider web, and it was a ghastly sight. Boom! Crack! In the end, he crashed into a glacier in the distance. Air billowed and it was overwhelming. Within a radius of 10 miles, the ground cracked and the mountains collapsed. Countless beasts were also affected. Corpses were everywhere, and the glacier was stained with blood. In the blink of an eye, the place had turned into a purgatory. It was too horrible to look at. At the same time, the giant fist was also shattered into pieces. After charging forward for a short distance, it shattered into pieces in the void with a loud bang. Puff! As the combat art was destroyed, Cui Qingqing spurted out a mouthful of blood and his face turned pale. The disbelief in his eyes was even more intense. He was already surprised that the double-winged snow eagle had mastered the perfect combat art. However, he did not expect Qin Feiyang to be able to block his combat art. No. It was not blocking. It was destroying. Blocking and destroying were two completely different things. Where did this group of bastards come from? How could they have such shocking skills? Boss, at the same time. Fatso looked at the shattered glacier with a worried face. Although he believed in Qin Feiyang, he couldn't help but feel anxious when he saw the injuries caused by the sky-shattering fist on Qin Feiyang. Don't worry about him for now. Let's take this opportunity to get rid of that bastard. The Wolf King stared fixedly at Cui Qingqing, his eyes flashing with unparalleled ferocity. First, the double-winged snow eagle revealed its perfect battle art, then, it was Qin Feiyang's turn to show his strength. Right now, Cui Qingqing was deeply shaken, so this was a good opportunity. When Fatso heard this, he turned to look at Cui Qingqing with murderous intent in his eyes. Kill! With a furious roar, he charged towards Cui Qingqing with Wolf King. The double-winged snow eagle also unleashed its lightning-fast attacks and pounced madly. However, Cui Qingqing was still a battle saint. Whether it was his battle experience or his battle instincts, he surpassed ordinary people. Just as Wolf King and Fatso arrived in front of him and smashed his ribs, he suddenly came back to his senses and hurriedly retreated. Wolf King and Fatso's attack missed and they were both very angry. One must know. This opportunity was exchanged for by Qin Feiyang's life. How could it fail? Absolutely not. Eagle, quick! One man and one wolf roared, without any pause, with monstrous anger, they pounced forward again. At the same time, the double-winged snow eagle's eyes turned cold, its wings flapped crazily and like a ray of light, it shot out. When it was chasing after the green-robed old woman, it had already activated its battle soul. So now, its speed was several times faster than Wolf King and Fatso. But even so, it still couldn't catch up with Chui Qingqing. Although the double-winged snow eagle and Chui Qingqing were only one small realm apart, the speed of a battle saint and a battle master was simply heaven and earth apart. For example, a 9-star battle master could fly 10 meters away in every breath, and a 1-star battle saint could fly 50 to 60 meters away. The gap between them was not something that could be made up for by external objects. Moreover, Chui Qingqing also mastered auxiliary battle arts. This is not the way to go on. The double-winged snow eagle was very anxious. Wolf King and Fatso were even more anxious. Looking at the man and the two beasts, Chui Qingqing's face was full of ridicule. But at the same time, he was also quite angry in his heart. If not for that battle sword and those two ribs, killing this man and two beasts would be as easy as flipping his hand. It would not be like now, where his hands and feet were tied. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something and his spirit was lifted. That little bastard must be dead. When I find that ice blade, all of you will go to the Yellow Springs to accompany him. Just you wait, you will be in despair soon. Huh, Chui Qingqing laughed loudly, turned into a ray of light, and rushed towards the broken glacier. Fatso, Wolf King, and the double-winged snow eagle looked at each other, their expressions gloomy as they hurriedly chased after him. On the other side, the green-robed old woman looked at the backs of the group of people, her eyes flickering. Suddenly, she smiled sinisterly, landed on the glacier below, and quietly followed. Obviously, she still wanted to take advantage of the situation. Very quickly, Chui Qingqing arrived above the broken glacier and looked down. Directly below, there was a huge sinkhole. At the bottom of the sinkhole, Qin Feiyang was lying quietly in a pool of blood, without any signs of life. The ice blade was also by his side. He really is dead. Chui Qingqing was overjoyed. He turned his head and looked at Fatso and Wolf King behind him, and rushed towards Qin Feiyang like lightning. Boss! Little Qin Zi. After a few breaths, Fatso and Wolf King also came to the sky above the sinkhole. Looking at Qin Feiyang lying in blood, they suddenly roared and rushed towards the sinkhole desperately. At this time, Chui Qingqing had already landed in front of Qin Feiyang. He looked up at Fatso and the others, a victorious smile on his face, and said, "Don't worry, I'll send you to accompany him right away." After saying that, he lowered his head, bent down, and reached out to grab the ice blade. Shwa! But at this moment, Qin Feiyang suddenly opened his eyes, and two cold lights burst out. At the same time, his bloody left hand grabbed the ice blade and pierced into Chui Qingqing's lower abdomen like lightning. That bone-piercing cold air and terrifying sharpness instantly shattered Chui Qingqing's qi. Ah! A blood-curdling scream immediately resounded through the sky. Once the qi was shattered, no matter how high the cultivation was, it was equivalent to a cripple. Fatso and Wolf King were stunned. After all this time, Qin Feiyang was just faking his death. The old woman in a green robe who was following them, heard Chui Qingqing scream and immediately stopped. Her old face was full of surprise. What was going on? Why was Chui Qingqing screaming? Could it be that he was plotted against by those little bastards again? Because the distance was a bit far, and Qin Feiyang and Chui Qingqing were at the bottom of the sinkhole, the old woman in a green robe did not know what had happened. But Chui Qingqing's painful scream made her feel frightened and uneasy. Shwa! After a little struggle, she decisively turned around and fled this place. But at this time, The double-winged snow eagle found her and was quite surprised. She did not escape. Fatso also followed the double-winged snow eagle's gaze and looked at the old woman in a green robe. He sneered, "It seems that she wants to be the oriole behind the mantis stalking the cicada. Since she wants to die, we must certainly fulfill her wish. Fatso, eagle, you go and kill her. I will go and help little Qin Zi." Wolf King's eyes flashed with killing intent. "No problem." Fatso and the double-winged snow eagle laughed, turned in the air, and chased after the old woman in a green robe. Wolf King continued to rush towards the sinkhole. At the bottom of the sinkhole, Cui Qingqing had stopped screaming and looked at Qin Feiyang in disbelief. "Why are you not dead?" "Why?" Qin Feiyang chuckled and forcefully pulled out the ice blade. Cui Qingqing's heart suddenly spurted blood like a column, and he collapsed weakly. Qin Feiyang slowly got up. The injuries all over his body made him grimace in pain. However, he was strong-willed and could still bear it. After getting up, he took a deep breath, looked down at Cui Qingqing, and said, "Because I have merged with the fire of life." "What?" Cui Qingqing's face changed, and he said in shock, "You also have the fire of life?" Qin Feiyang said, "Is it strange?" "Isn't it strange?" Cui Qingqing asked. "How could ordinary people obtain a treasure like the fire of life?" But then, he said, "No, even if you have merged with the fire of life and have an immortal body, there is still a limit. Once this limit is exceeded, you will still die. And the sky-shattering fist is my strongest trump card, and I am a battle saint. Just the fire of life is not enough to let you live. There must be other factors." Cui Qingqing said. "You are quite smart." "Yes, in addition to the fire of life, I also have a divine art. The fusion of this divine art and the fire of life can give me a real immortal body." Qin Feiyang said. "Divine art?" Cui Qingqing looked surprised and said, "Who are you?" Qin Feiyang said, "Qin Feiyang." "What? You are Qin Feiyang who slaughtered all the creatures in the first and second areas?" Cui Qingqing's eyes widened. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and said angrily, "Who told you? Your evil deeds are now known by everyone in the third area. Do you still need others to tell me?" Cui Qingqing sneered. Qin Feiyang furrowed his brows. Who was it that was spreading rumors? Mysterious Madam? But the mysterious Madam said that she would not disturb him for at least 5 years. So she should not have come to the third area to spread these rumors. Could it be Mu Qin? With the grudge between him and Mu Qin, it was really possible that she deliberately tricked him. Just as Qin Feiyang was deep in thought, Cui Qingqing's eyes flashed slightly. He raised his hand and reached for his Qianquan bag, and the fire of life immediately rushed out of his Qianquan bag. Then he grabbed the fire of life and stuffed it into his mouth. "You're courting death." Seeing that Cui Qingqing was about to succeed, Wolf King rushed over from the sky, grabbed his ribs, and smashed his head with his rod. Ah, crack! Accompanied by a shrill scream, Cui Qingqing's head exploded like a watermelon, and he died on the spot. Trash! Wolf King looked at Cui Qingqing with disdain, grabbed the fire of life, and looked at Qin Feiyang. "You're too careless. What if he really swallowed it? You still have the nerve to talk about me? I created such a good opportunity for you, but what about you? You didn't even hurt a single hair on his head." If I hadn't heard his words and faked my death here to ambush him, not to mention the fire of life, I wouldn't even be able to get a single strand of hair. Chapter 793. Hearing Qin Feiyang's words, Wolf King laughed embarrassedly. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at it, took out a healing pill and swallowed it. This time, his injuries were very serious. Not only was his body cracked, even his internal organs were severely injured. However, after fusing with the fire of life, every cell in his body was filled with a huge amount of life energy. With the help of the healing pill, his life was not in danger. But for a period of time, he would definitely not be able to fight again. Not long after. A painful scream came from afar. It was the green-robed old woman's scream. Qin Feiyang raised his head and looked at Wolf King, searched Chui Qingqing's Qinkuan bag. Qinkuan bag? Wolf King was slightly stunned, and then its eyes lit up. It hurriedly squatted on the ground and stretched out its claws to search Chui Qingqing's clothes. Soon. It took out a Qinkuan bag, checked it for a while, and said in joy, "There are so many 10,000-year-old medicinal herbs." Is that so? Qin Feiyang looked at it suspiciously and took the Qinkuan bag to check. There were indeed some 10,000-year-old medicinal herbs inside. Initial estimates showed that there were more than 200 stalks. Not bad. Qin Feiyang laughed. In addition to the medicinal herbs, there were also quite a few gold coins. This could be considered an unexpected gain. Suddenly, Wolf King frowned. "Little Qin Zi, there is a problem that I can't figure out." "What's the problem?" Qin Feiyang looked at it and asked. "That old witch could have used the teleportation gate to escape, but why didn't she open it?" Wolf King was suspicious. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Wolf King's words really reminded him. As a war saint, he must have some teleportation gates on him at all times. And in the process of them chasing after the green-robed old woman, she had the chance to open the teleportation gate and escape. But why didn't she take out the teleportation gate until she died? After a while, Wolf King turned to look in the direction of Fatso and the two-winged snow eagle and asked suspiciously, "Strange, why haven't Fatso and Old Eagle returned yet?" Qin Feiyang also frowned. The place where the screams came from was about 2 to 3 miles away from here. Logically speaking, Fatso and Shuang should have arrived by now and joined them. Could something have happened? Let's go and take a look. Qin Feiyang's heart sank. He dragged his tired body and flew over. A short while later, the man and the wolf saw a bloody corpse lying on the broken glacier. It was the green-robed old woman. However, there was no sign of Fatso or Shuang in the surroundings. Wolf King said angrily, "Where did those two bastards go?" Whoosh! But his voice fell. Along with the sound of something breaking through the air, Fatty and the two-winged snow eagle flew over from above the glacier. Seeing Qin Feiyang and Wolf King standing beside the green-robed old woman's corpse, one man and one eagle were a little surprised. Swish! Following closely, they swooped down and landed in front of Qin Feiyang. Fatso immediately asked with concern, "Boss, how are your injuries?" "I won't die." Qin Feiyang smiled and frowned. "Where did you go?" Hearing Qin Feiyang's answer, Fatso let out a long breath and said, "We went to look for her Qinkuan bag." "What do you mean?" Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked. "After killing her, I guessed that there might be 10,000 years old medicinal herbs in her Qinkuan bag, so I searched her body, but I couldn't find her Qinkuan bag. Old Eagle and I guessed that she might have accidentally left it on the way to escape, so we ran back to look for it. As a result, we found a few fragments of the Qinkuan bag at the place where she fought with the black-robed old man. We guessed that it must have been accidentally destroyed and she was fighting with the black-robed old man." Fatso said. "So that's how it is." Qin Feiyang nodded in realization. No wonder this woman didn't open the portal. It turned out that the Qinkuan bag was destroyed. Because once the Qinkuan bag was destroyed, the things inside would also shatter and turn into nothingness. I also found this jade box in her Qi Si. There was still some life energy left in it. It should be used to store the fire of life. Fatso took out a palm-sized jade box from his arms. The jade box was pure white and quite exquisite. Qin Feiyang looked at the jade box and laughed, "Although it's a pity that we didn't get her Qinkuan bag, but no matter what, this time we can be considered a great victory. Go to the castle immediately and count the spoils of war this time. I estimate that we should be able to gather a few sets of small creation pills medicinal ingredients. Without waiting for Qin Feiyang to finish speaking, Fatso and Wolf King couldn't help but become excited. Especially the double-winged snow eagle. Suddenly, Wolf King stared at the fire of life in Qin Feiyang's hands, rolled his eyes, and laid on the ground with a plop, exclaiming, "Io, I can't take it anymore. What's going on?" Qin Feiyang and the others looked at it in shock. "When I was fighting with Cui Qingqing just now, I suffered a very heavy injury. I have to fuse with the fire of life to be saved," Wolf King said in despair. Qin Feiyang, Fatso, and the double-winged snow eagle looked at each other in dismay. At that time, they were all present. Why didn't they see this guy injured? If you want the fire of life, just say it. Why make up such a lame excuse? "I can't take it anymore. Qin Feiyang, quickly save this emperor. In the future, this emperor will definitely do his best for you until the day he dies." The double-winged snow eagle also lay on the ground, stretched out its wings, and looked helplessly at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang's face twitched. Seeing the double-winged snow eagle imitating him, Wolf King was unhappy. He turned over and got up, angrily saying, "What's the point of this? Shouldn't everything be first come, first served? What a joke. I contributed the most to snatching the fire of life this time. Of course it should belong to me." The double-winged snow eagle also flapped its wings and soared into the sky, staring at Wolf King without showing any weakness. "Are you here to be funny? Ask little Qin Zi and Fatso, what did you do? Why do you say that you contributed the most?" Wolf King said. The double-winged snow eagle said, "Then tell me, where did you get injured? Why can't I see it?" Wolf King said confidently, "Nonsense, this is an internal injury. Of course you can't see it. I also have internal injuries. Do you believe me?" The double-winged snow eagle said. Wolf King's veins suddenly bulged, and he roared, "Believe your ass. Get as far away as you can. Come on, show me how to get away first." The double-winged snow eagle clamored. Looking at the wolf and the eagle arguing, Qin Feiyang was really speechless. They even brought up internal injuries. What a clown. Cough. Qin Feiyang coughed, reached out and stopped the two beasts, and said, "Don't even think about it. After fusing with the fire of life, only one person could benefit. Just like him and Fatty, they were the only ones benefiting right now. But if they didn't fuse, everyone could absorb the energy of the fire of life to heal their injuries. So, unless it was a matter of life and death, he wouldn't let anyone fuse with it." Schwa. After saying that, Qin Feiyang waved his hand and sent Fatso and Wolf King to the castle. Fire of life, 6th grade alchemy fire, saint-level weapon ice blade, and countless tens of thousands of years old medicinal herbs, risk and opportunity coexist. This sentence is indeed true. Qin Feiyang silently counted the spoils of war in his heart. Then, with a smile on his face, he soared into the sky and flew forward. Not long after, he found a lake, washed the blood stains on his body, changed into a clean set of clothes, and continued on his way. 6 hours later, his injuries had mostly healed, and his speed was getting faster and faster. On the horizon ahead, he could faintly see 2 tribes. Songhai tribe, Black Lion tribe, Red Smoke tribe. "I have to investigate the background of these 3 tribes, Qin Feiyang whispered. Clang. Suddenly, the sound of weapons colliding entered Qin Feiyang's ears. Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned, and immediately became vigilant, lowering his head to scan the area below. He had encountered 3 battle saints in a row and almost lost his life, so now, any slight movement would make him extra careful. Below, there was a vast forest. The sound of weapons colliding came from the forest, not far from where he was. He could still sense 2 auras, but they were very weak. According to his judgment, it should be the aura of a battle emperor. Qin Feiyang secretly heaved a sigh of relief. If it was only a battle emperor, then there was no need to worry. After pondering for a while, he restrained his aura, landed in the forest, and walked toward the place of the battle. A moment later, he crossed a snowy ridge, stood on an ice peak more than 100 feet high, and looked down. Not far away, a man and a woman were fighting, rolling up snowflakes all over the sky. The surrounding trees had been destroyed by the fluctuations of the battle, and it was a mess. The man and woman were about the same age as him, in their 20s. The woman was about 1.75 meters tall, with icy skin and jade-like bones. She wore a white gauze dress, and her eyes were as clear as a mirror. She was quite beautiful. The young man was also tall, wearing a purple robe. He had bright eyes and white teeth, and his appearance was extraordinary. Both of them held a 3-foot-long sword in their hands, and the sharpness was astonishing. At this moment, their clothes were somewhat tattered, and there were bloodstains everywhere. Their cultivation were similar, both were 3-star battle emperors. Qin Feiyang had not seen a battle between battle emperors for a long time. Therefore, for a moment, he watched with great interest. However, after watching for a while, he felt a little strange. Although their cultivation were the same, the young man in purple was obviously stronger than the woman in white. And now, the woman in white was indeed being forced back by the young man in purple. It could be said that if the young man in purple wanted to end the battle, he could do it immediately. However, the young man in purple did not kill the woman in white. After a while, the young man in purple was angry and roared, "Bitch, it's your fortune that I have taken a fancy to you. If you continue to be stubborn, don't blame me for being ruthless." Qin Feiyang was stunned. "Stop dreaming. Even if I die, I won't let you do as you wish," the woman in white scolded. Her bright eyes were filled with hatred, but there was also a trace of helplessness. "So that's how it is," Qin Feiyang whispered, and then the corner of his mouth curled up into a bitter smile. "How melodramatic.